my gosh. It can happen. My past 3 seeds that I practice, I have had no boots. All right. Oh, diversions already. Big Dunka heading up the sanctuary is going to take a bit of a walk, and Haiku doing the standard opening, heading towards Uncle.
Yeah. What strategy do you like to use, Jet, when you play open? I prefer the sanctuary start myself.
Oh, really? I like what Haiku's doing. Can you kill the guard? There's a tree you can do a quick pull of to check here, and then so this takes about a minute, and then I'll usually go to sanctuary after that.
Yeah, my logic of doing the sanctuary one first is that it's your best opportunity to either get bombs or get the rupees for them without having to worry about farming in the hut.
Right. So Big Dunka checking the crab. Blue rupees is okay.
Looks like we had the bug net off of Uncle.
Oh, that means they have to kill Aghanim. Like, Aghanim won. That's guaranteed, right? That's how this works?
Absolutely. That's what it means. hycutype also getting a bomb drop off the second guard kill there, which is nice.
He already has a bomb. Big Dunka's still looking for his bombs.
50 rupees in the Sank chest. Essentially, that's a bomb purchase in town, so...
Yeah, it's a bit of a walk, but, I mean, it's better than nothing.
Yeah.
You really don't want to go into Steve's hut or the well without a bomb and not get a bomb in there, because then you have to backtrack.
Yep.
And that early potion, Big Dunka just picked up.
Yeah.
Checking the sick kid.
Yeah, basically going to be able to do just about everything you can do in Light World Kakariko in one fell swoop. He missed that bush throw, but it looks like hycutype is intending on farming a higher level tree pull here on his way into the forest.
Yeah, you need to kill 4 enemies to be able to check one of the other 2 tiers of pulls. Otherwise, you're going to get whatever they pulled the first time, which was hearts. I do want to point out in chat, they were asking about the bug net. Bug net is never required by the logic. In order to fight Aghanim the first time, you need a sword. So you always have a sword.
Right. But for those who don't know, you can, in fact, use the bug net to reflect Aghanim's energy balls, so there's, memes about killing him with the bug net.
Yeah, it's for fun.
Exactly.
So, nothing good from the sick kid, but you'll see Big Dunka is heading down to go buy his 10-pack bombs. So he's putting the 50 rupees right to use. Unfortunately, if he gets no more rupees, he won't be able to check what the bottle vendor is selling.
Right. I believe there's at least 40 guaranteed under the pots in between the well and Steve's hut. So basically just need a couple of big 20s or so to fill out the rest.
Right. So Haiku noticed the second tier, I believe it was. I don't recall if he got hit, but it was 5 rupees.
Yeah, he did. He did take a hit off one of the pickles he was trying to use the bushes for.
All right, so both of our runners in town, plenty of chests to grab. We'll have to see what kind of progression they get, because right now they can't check anything new. So we're trying to see what's the big item that they're going to get, and where's it going to direct them to go. I did see a lot of rupees in chests, so they're checking the bottle vendor, no problem.
Yep. Not a whole lot else coming out of Kakariko Village so far, though.
It's unusual. Oh, there's a cane. There it is.
Yeah, it's a nice reusable item for early on in the game. It's really nice. Makes, something like the front end of Escape, for instance, doable.
Yeah, it's actually a weapon that our runners can use. If they don't get anything else, at least they have a way to kill guards that isn't bombs.
I think between the two of them, we've seen the rest of the village, though, at this point. So that cane's all that's going to come out of here.
Did they check the tavern?
I believe Big Dunka did. I'm pretty sure it was a 5er.
Wow, just a cane. That is not actually progression at this point. Like we said, it can be used as a weapon. You can kill some guards or whatever it is you need. They're going to have to go for a walk. We haven't even seen the map yet, so we're not even sure which are pendant dungeons, which are crystal dungeons at this point.
Actually eerily reminiscent of my last race against Alucard. it was early Kane and absolutely nothing else. So
You know, the nice thing about early Kane is we might see an early Turtle Rock.
that's always fun. Especially if you have to go in there on low health and green mail so that all the chomps and the pokies are insanely terrifying. That's the best.
Let me see if I can see what was in the library. It was a little quick. Oh, it's the bow! On top of the books!
Okay.
Boots required. We will see a bonk.
One mandatory bonk, at least.
Someone mixed up the bee and bow with books and put it on top of the bookshelf. Big Dunka decided to do the race game blind. He saw it was just a red rupee, so he just quit out rather than complete it. And looks like he might be doing Sanctuary right away, maybe? No, okay, he's gonna... Ooh, he's heading to Eastern.
Oh, that's an interesting play this early.
I feel like Eastern usually has items in it, so...
Yeah, it's just a little weird because you know the bow is sitting on the library, so if the boots are available somewhere,
Good point,
you can
yeah.
clear this in one shot, yeah.
So there was a pendant up at Hera, and the other two dungeons are crystals. So Randomizer, of course, will mix up which dungeons are required in order to beat the game. In this case, you need crystal dungeons, and both Eastern, which is where Big Dunka is near, and Desert are crystal dungeons. So they will have to beat those dungeons. A lot of rupees.
It's too bad. It's a little too bad that Desert is a crystal because that bow, well, and Eastern, I suppose, because that bow is sitting in the library. I had hopes for a forced double dip GT,
Right?
sheath, but that's been squashed.
You want to see that big key on the torch, huh?
Oh well, I was thinking if Eastern and Pod were both pendants, you could theoretically have to go into GT for the boots to come back out and get the bow.
Yeah. Oh, that would be neat.
Yeah. It's reminiscent of the very first weekly after version 26 dropped, which had a forced double dip into Ganon's Tower.
Boots are not necessarily required to beat Desert. It really depends on if the lamp inside of Desert has a key on it. If it doesn't, you don't need boots to beat it. So we could see Bo at Lam Mola's, which is the boss of Desert.
Boots at Lamola's, I assume, is what you...
What did I say?
No.
I meant boots.
Yeah. Okay.
We
That's
know
what
where Bo is.
Right.
So Big Dunka is in Eastern now. There's up to 3 items he could potentially get here, depending on where they are. Of course, he might have to do something like go into the dark room early if he wants to get one of the items. So we'll have to see what happens. A sword is a nice thing to find, though, this early.
Absolutely. Really nice bomb throws there from hycutype in the mini Moldorm cave. And another sword. So we do have Master Sword lying around. And a glove.
And gloves. So Master Sword, for Aghanim to be required, we also have to see a lantern. Otherwise... So in order to get to Dark World, you're either going to have to kill Aghanim, which at this point requires Master Sword, which they'll have, and a lantern, or they have to get either Titan's Mitts, which means a second glove, or they have to find Hammer and to go along with that power glove that they have now.
That's right, yeah. Important to note, too, that if you get the double lift upgrade option, that you technically, without some form of other item, actually can't reach the eastern half of the Dark World killing Aghanim either. So that's always interesting to keep in mind, too.
Oh, speaking of which, they're the mitts.
So that's really interesting in terms of how you decide you want to route that out. Hycutype coming to Sanctuary, was he going to try just heading straight up? Oh, back of escape, right? Makes sense.
Yeah, quick check. So we're still looking for the Moon Pearl. So they don't actually have access to Dark World until they get that Moon Pearl. And as you said, I mean, Aghanim could be required if they have to get to the eastern side of the Dark World.
Right. Of course, there are some sequence breaks that the runners may or may not know how to do that can get you around that too. So if we run into that situation, that should be interesting to see if we see any of those.
So I'm actually impressed with that location of the Titan's Mitts. I've seen a few runners actually skip Ice Rod Cave. It really depends on what kind of items you have, and maybe you think about skipping that sort of thing. So we'll have to see when Big Duncan finally heads over there.
Yeah, for sure. A lot of runners do put priority on what's called the Sphere Zero locations, which are the locations you can get to without any of the key items aside from getting bombed somewhere. So we'll have to see if Big Dunka is of that mind or not.
All right, looks like Haiku's going to do the front of escape. I'm assuming Big Dunka will also. Yeah, it looks like he's heading to front escape as well.
Yeah, it makes sense considering where both runners are located, both geographically and in terms of what they've checked so far.
Yeah, honestly, going to Eastern early for Big Duncan did not really pay off.
No.
We'll have to see if they need to go kill Aghanim, but at this point, if Haiku happens to get the Moon Pearl here, he's ready to dive right into Dark World.
Yeah, I'm guessing what Big Dunka was thinking was that if the boots are in the eastern area, that hycutype is not going to be overly motivated to go over there before he can grab the bow off the library, so that would be an advantage for him. I mean, that's just a guess,
yeah.
but
I mean, anything our runners do at this point is a bit of a gamble. You are looking for those items that will help show where you're supposed to progress to. So at this point, anything is fair game.
Yeah, absolutely. Especially this early, like I said, you are about the Sphere Zero locations. You want to sort of knock those out so that you can see, hopefully get all the breadcrumbs that the seed's trying to give you.
Speaking of a breadcrumb, we got a mirror here in this, usually that's a blue boomerang chest.
So early mitts and early mirror, but no Moon Pearl. Moon Pearl and checkerboard? Maybe?
Oh, we'll have to see if Flute pops up.
That's something I have not seen in a long time. Probably since V26's drop, honestly.
So there must be an item in here if Haiku's checking it out. I don't remember where map... Oh, there was a map. Okay, he didn't get the item. Oh, no. Did he not get the item in the dark room?
I mean, he was playing around in there, and then he saved and quit it out. So I sort of assumed he got something that we couldn't see, but maybe he didn't. Maybe he decided to leave without it.
So Mirror doesn't actually unlock any progression at this point. You would need to have access to Death Mountain, which technically they don't have because they're missing the lantern. Or Flute, as you mentioned, it could be in Checkerboard Cave if they can get the Flute. Now Haiku's making his way over to Sahasrara, and then he'll probably dip into Eastern after this, get himself a sword upgrade. But really, we're trying to figure out where else it could be, and there's not too many locations open to them.
Yeah.
So we're talking, actually Zora could be holding an item, and Aegina over by the desert.
Yeah, trying to run it through quickly in my head. I think that's what we're down to.
So one of those locations has Moon Pearl, Lantern. If you guys want to cross your fingers for an Aghanim seed, we'd want to see Lantern there. Could you imagine a Moon Pearl on Pyramid? I feel like we haven't seen that in a long time.
That's true. Especially Moon Pearl on the Pyramid after getting Titan's Mitts. You probably have it in your head that oh, I don't have to do Aga 1 in this seed, and then lo and behold.
You cannot reach the Graveyard Ledge as a bunny. The only places you could get as a bunny is the Pyramid itself, and also the Checkerboard Cave, which is in Mire. Those are the only two things you can really access that's sort of from the Dark World, or that's in the Dark World.
There are glitches you can do, and one of the setups is completely free to be able to get what's called Super Bunny status to be able to do a few other things, but none of those are ever going to be required in this version of the logic.
Right. Yeah, you can Super Bunny in on Death Mountain on the eastern side. There's also I've seen a Super Bunny in Mire itself for that cave, the hut.
I think those two and getting into Ice Palace, I think, are the big ones.
So there's our Master Sword for both of our runners, since they were able to pick it up. Big Dunka is going to go get his mitts over at Ice Rod Cave, so that's good. We'll have to see where he decides to go after this. He might fake Flipper. We'll have to see if he saves and quit, or if he walks out.
Yeah. Considering where you are on the map, I would be fake flipping from here. And he's walking out, so it looks like that's what he's going to be doing too.
So fake flipper is a glitch. However, it's a minor glitch, so it's allowed. The randomizer itself doesn't expect you to fake flipper, so it's not part of the logic requirement. So they could technically Big Dunka right now. What he's doing will be a sequence break. So if he gets something here, it's something that the randomizer didn't quite expect him to get access to just yet.
Yeah, the intended way to get to Zora with the lift upgrade is to walk over from Sanctuary and past the Witch's Hut. And it's a really long and slow walk, particularly without boots.
And the nice thing about doing it this way is he's able to check out what the hobo has. Maybe he'll also fake flipper over to the Waterfall Fairy and check the 2 chests there. Oh, that's right. He can't do that yet without Moon Pearl. Good point.
Right.
From chat.
There is a way to break that with the boots as well, if we happen to come across those.
Well, nothing good from the hobo.
Yep, getting the fake flipper set up back from the hobo on the second try there.
Alright, so Haiku is finished. He's probably also thinking, what is left to me? Zora and the desert, desert itself, Aegina.
I would imagine he's probably going to be heading to Aegina here.
This is a nice, quick walk. It's just a shame he can only get 1 item here.
Oh, yeah, I think Big Dunka realizing there at the end, oh wait, I can't actually get into the waterfall right now. Take that abrupt right turn back onto land.
Real quick, the setup for the hobo fake flipper, it's actually not too bad. You have that little, that area on the ledge on the right that's sort of horizontal. You basically line up with that, and then you just move up slightly. So you're just a couple pixels. You just tap up, and then you hold right, and you'll actually just fake flipper. It's not too bad. It's not like there's a buffered setup you could do with the normal fake flipper location in Southeast Hyrule. It's actually surprisingly forgiving to do it from the hobo.
Oh, that's interesting. I actually... Oh, there's your lamp.
Oh, there it is. There it is. Okay. Aghanim required.
I can't, unless we're forgetting something that they haven't checked. That's Aga required.
I think we've seen everything.
Oh, they can go up Death Mountain. Of course. They can even get into Hera.
Yeah. Silly me. The boring go up to Death Mountain.
That's interesting. I didn't even realize. I mean, I guess I realized you could, but about doing the setup moving up, because I actually do it moving down. If you set up at the thickest part of if you face the thickest part of the pillar, and then just tap down so that Link faces down, and then you're in the perfect position horizontally. So that's interesting.
Desert Cave was checked. That happened to be our single arrow, which is the best item in the game.
Bar none, absolutely. I would love to see a seed where somebody grabs the single arrow and then takes Ganon out with their last arrow. That would be amazing. So we'll see if hycutype actually did grab this chest, or if it was important here from Big Dunka's end.
Well, 50 rupees. Either he got it or it's just not important.
Right.
Although, if he didn't get it, he might be backtracking there at some point.
Right, yeah. He may have just forgotten to count items and gone down for that map, but yeah, that would be interesting to see if he actually did miss getting it.
If you guys wanted to see water walking, that's the glitch. When you water walk up the Zora, that's just when you go into the Waterfall Fairy Cave. In order for that to trigger, you need the Moon Pearl, but not flippers. Because the game checks your state, Link's state. It checks to see if you have flippers or if you have Moon Pearl for whatever reason.
I think it's because the game is checking Moon Pearl just to see, like, in terms of like Light World, Dark World. I think it just does it by default, and so you get that one frame to play around with. It's something like that.
If you should be a bunny or if you should not be, essentially.
Yeah. And there is also a setup that you can do with the boots. If you dash past a pit close enough, the game will allow you to store the water walking glitch for some reason.
I've seen that recently employed by runners, but it still seems sort of rare. It requires a bit of a setup. Doesn't necessarily pay off, but
yeah, it definitely only has situational uses for sure, and especially situational in terms of your items, because you need to have boots but not have flippers, and also be missing the other items that would theoretically make it worthwhile. So it's definitely situational.
All right, Haiku going to Sanctuary. He might also be going up Death Mountain at this point. Bigdunka's checking inside of Spectacle Rock. So right now, our runners are essentially looking for Moon Pearl or some other sort of progression. They can access Tower of Hera, and they'll be able to full clear it. But if they don't get anything, then we got an Aghanim required seat.
That's right, yeah.
Okay, Haiku is double checking here, since now he has Lantern, he can actually get to this spot.
I didn't notice his health when he came down here the first time. Maybe he was like a hit from dying or whatnot, just decided to save and quit and save himself the time. I'm not sure.
Finding that rat in the dark is also annoying. If he didn't kill the key rat.
I'm pretty sure he got into the actual chest room itself. Like, the ropes might have just been all over him. I'm not sure.
There's the Moon Pearl. Vanilla Dungeon Moon Pearl.
Nice.
Now, this is a pendant dungeon. It looks like Bigdunka is going to continue and find the second item here. It's going to do a bit of a setup so that way he can take a brief 30-second break.
Yep, this is usually the part of my races where I talk to the chat, ask them how their weekend went. You know what I mean? This, some quality time.
Yeah, it's Spectacle Rock because I think that's what it's called in Zelda 1. Or it's just, that's the name of the location, and that's what it happens to be in Link to the Past, where it is.
Right. It's also shaped like a pair of glasses, so.
Yeah. I actually didn't even think about that until I just read it in chat. I'm like, oh, I guess it sort of does.
Yeah.
So with Moon Pearl, Bigdunka now has access to Dark World. Only the left-hand side at this point. He can use the portal that's just north of town.
Yeah, an interesting find for the second item in Hera would be if they come across either the hammer or the hookshot, so they can get right over to the eastern part of Death Mountain this early.
Yeah. So I'm not sure if I mentioned, there are 2 items in Tower of Hera, and of course one of them was Moon Pearl for us. So we'll have to see what the other item is once Bigdunka gets a hold of it.
Yeah, Bigdunka doing the intended strat for this chest here. There is a bomb jump, but without boots, it's basically 2 pixels precise, and if you miss it, you fall 2 floors. So that's, I totally understand doing it this way.
Okay, I saw a green pendant over at Palace of Darkness, and I think the blue pendant was at Mire. I saw one of the Fat Fairy crystals was Thieves. Okay, and Turtle Rock was the other one.
All right.
So there you go. Of course, we care about crystals 5 and 6 because that unlocks access to the Fat Fairy, who has 2 items. You need both of those crystals in order to... Oh! Moldorm being a Trolldorm.
Doing his best Dikembe Mutombo impression and just completely denying access.
Now, usually, if you fall into Moldorm, he'll knock you back up the ledge, but if you get him at just the right angle, he launches you. Alright, hycutype is also going to complete the dungeon while he's here.
Bigdunka getting Moldorm into his super speed status because of, at least one of those spins would actually hit with the sword poke first. Hangs on though.
A blue rupee for his trouble. Well, maybe this will be a pedestal seed, and that won't be too bad. Alright, so really, only thing to get up here, Moon Pearl, but it's an important item, giving us access to like half the game.
Yeah, Pedestal Seed is sort of interesting. The game has given these guys a lot of the early items for a lot of the pendant dungeons. So...
I mean, Palace of Darkness is going to require bow, so at least we'll see boots and bow at some point, and of course hammer, in order to beat that dungeon. Meyer just needs a requirement of a medallion and a flute, given what they have right now.
Yeah.
So that means we could still see, like, hook shot could potentially be there, assuming they get the boots earlier. One of
flippers.
Flippers, Turtle Rock Medallion, Fire Rod, and Ice Rod. So we have a lot of things that could be at the pedestal at this point. Oh, Haiku. There he goes, setting up the bomb jump. And he got it, no problem.
Yeah, nicely done.
We still don't know if Aghanim is required. They only have access to the left-hand side of the Dark World. They need either hammer or flippers to get to the right-hand side. So, until we see one of those items, we're not sure.
Right. Aga 1 is never complete... Logically, Aga 1 is never completely dead until you have the hammer.
Yeah.
And yeah, Bigdunka taking the dip into the first part of Skull Woods. Pretty common strategy in V26 Skull Woods for a plethora of reasons. Has a really high chance of having something useful.
There are 2 items in Skull Woods, and they can complete about half of it. They should get at least 1 item by doing this early check. It's not guaranteed, but on average, you get 1 item by doing this.
Having the Canis area really helps too for that. One of my least favorite rooms, that double Gibdo switch room, is just without silver arrows or the fire rod is just awful. At least trying to do it quickly, I should say. But
yeah, this is the only chest Bigdunka has left to check here. So if he doesn't get anything, he's just done in this dungeon. Oh, the big key, so he has to backtrack to the big chest.
Not too bad, though. I mean, he was likely going to be going back to get to Village of Outcasts anyway. So if that's going to happen, I guess this is the time for it.
Yeah, you walk past the spot anyway. Haiku also doing the same call. He's gonna go up the Skull Woods. And we're about to see if this is worth. It depends on if there's an item in this big chest. Oh, just a red rupee.
Just the big 20.
Oh, interesting. Haiku doing the backwards strat. So
yeah,
the nice thing is you can use the mirror.
Yeah, just what I was about to say. It's this really, if you have the mirror, this makes a lot of sense.
He might make up a little bit of time by doing it this way. All right, Big Dunka making his way into Village of Outcasts. We, of course, have Thieves Town as a dungeon here, but there's also 3 items he can get inside the town itself.
Right, whether or not to do Thieves now is a bit of an interesting call for 2 reasons. One main one being that the big chest is blocked behind the hammer, so going in there without the hammer is a bit of a risk in case you leave something behind in that chest.
Yep.
And then also Thieves is a really long dungeon in terms of how linear it is, so coming back here later with the boots can actually save you a fair amount of time by compared to a lot of the other dungeons.
Although with up to 4 items that you can get in that dungeon, I mean, the progression could be there instead.
Absolutely could be.
So we'll have to see what our racers do. It could go either way. It looks like Haiku's setting up a bomb jump here. Bombos inside the chess game, which at this point is not actually progression, but it is nice to have a medallion in case they need to get into Mire or Turtle Rock. And Bombos itself gives you access to Ice Palace once you can get over there.
Right. It's also the medallion with the longest animation. However, it's also the one that's most effective against, that has the largest range of enemies it's effective against as well in terms of using it for combat.
Haiku's scoping out the ledge here. Unfortunately, it was just a bomb upgrade. But it could be good to check. It's good to know if there's a required item. Just like Bow, we've seen, is in library.
Bit interesting that if you're going to go over there to check that, you wouldn't keep going and check out the graveyard ledge as well.
Yeah, they have Mirror. He has it equipped, but there's also a lot of items over at the village here, so...
The graveyard ledge is one of those spots that can be tough to work into your routing if you don't take advantage of it when it's relatively convenient for you.
So as I mentioned, there's 4 items they can get here, but, you know, if there's something in that big chest, they won't be able to access it yet until they get Hammer.
All right, so Big Dunk is heading to Thieves, and it looks like he got both keys and both dungeon items in the first 4 chests. So all the worth is in the back, including something in the big chest at this point.
Oh, he got both map and compass? Oh, no. You know what would be sort of fun to see is something like Blind dropping the hammer, because then it's like you had to kill him in order to go open that chest.
Oh, okay. Apparently the map is still out there. My apologies.
Or, yeah, Hammer could be at the cell or up here where Big Dunk is. There's a chest that he's coming up to. Those crickets are the worst. They do. Look at that. Look at how much damage Big Dunka just took. They're this tiny little cricket. It does 2 hearts of damage with green tunic.
And their movement it's predictable in some sense, but in other ways it's really not. It always seems that like they stop, and as soon as you think you've got enough time to get by is when they move. Like I don't know,
Yeah.
but.
And they take 4 hits from Fighter Sword. It's ridiculous.
Yeah. His Ace Axe is here, hit for 2 hearts as well. So on green mail and low hearts, Thieves Town can actually be a little bit scary.
I mean, he will come up to some... Oh, there's a heart right there. There's a couple of skull pots over by the cell that he could pick up for hearts. So, I mean, there's some safety to be had here, but they don't actually have any real safeties. They don't have Cane or Cape, so he will have to play it safe. Both of our runners are going to have to play it safe.
Okay, so it looks like we're down to a 50-50 whether our map is going to be in the big chest or on blind. Bosses do have a slightly higher chance of having maps over compasses, so...
Is this speaking from experience? Because it sounds like it.
Actually, I can credit AA for that. Basically, when the logic tries to give a big or a small key to a boss that can't have one, they get the map instead by default.
Oh, okay. Oh, we're seeing some Kane strats from bigdunka. Ooh, getting hit by a head is actually 2 hearts of damage. Oh no. Come on, one more hit. One more hit. Oh! No! Oh, that was so close. The dodges.
Oh, he got hung up on his own King of Samaria block there, I think, for a little bit. And then had those epic dodges, and right as the bolt was about to hit the head, he got sniped. That's tough.
I still want to shout-outs for the dodges, though. That was looking pretty good. Luckily, it's not that long of a walk to head back to blind, and now he has 5 hearts. But this does allow hycutype to catch up just a little bit.
Right, and
trying to make his way downstairs.
Yeah, the other bad part is that blind is going to automatically be at the top of the screen, which is a lot less favorable too.
Yeah. Now, blind sort of follows a set pattern. When you first fight him, you can sort of set up to make sure you quickly get through phase 1, and it's usually very easy to get him through phase 2. Oh, bigdunka has to be careful again. 1 hit from ahead. Oh no! Oh no! Ooh.
And this is, I don't know if you feel this way or not, Jet, but I feel like too, like whenever something like that happens on a boss, it tends to snowball like this for whatever reason.
I was gonna say, it's sort of that sort of situation will put me on tilt. I know that's happened to me before when I've died to cold stare. It's sort of demoralizing, and then you feel like you're just out of it. My opponent's ahead of me now, and like, what am I supposed to do? You just have to focus. They fought blind hundreds of times, so it's like you just have to go back, relax, get through it.
Exactly. And that's the thing, when you fight blind hundreds of times, as you said, and probably all but 5 of those times it goes perfectly fine, but every once in a while you're just going to have that day where it doesn't work out that well for you.
And there is an item on blind, so they will not have to open the big chest. The big chest has the map in it. Come on, bigdunka.
Oh! No! I think that was his Samaria block was doing that to him again there on that attempt.
Yeah. Shake it off, bigdunka. Come on, you got this. Chad, I think we need to see some energy sent to bigdunka.
Absolutely.
Meanwhile, Haiku's making his way to the southern portion of the Dark World. He's going to do the shovel game here. He could potentially grab the frog and return him with the mirror if he decides to. We'll have to see what he does.
That would seem like a pretty pertinent course of action that would let you take the purple chest with you, and you don't have boots yet, so the walking speed doesn't really hurt you.
Yeah, I'm sure our racers are thinking, like, where is the boots? I want the boots. It can get me the bow.
Right. You even have the lamp. You don't even have to worry about, like, Dark Pod. You can just... Ooh, sniped by the laser there.
I don't know. I think he's getting a little fancy with the cane. And it's all going wrong. This is sad to see.
Choosing to pass on it here for now.
It will actually work out as long as he doesn't worry about it too much. I don't think he... Oh, I guess there is another skull pot he could have picked up for sword beams. That's a good point. Of course, cross product, you would know what those skull pots are. We got a red orang from the dwarves. Yeah, I think bigdunka is just, he's just a little shaken. I know exactly how this feels.
Yeah. And yeah, hycutype is opting to bring the purple chest on the tour to Hype Cave here, as is relatively common.
So he'll be able to check right here south of the grove. We call this spot. Old Stumpy is just north of this location. And then we have the all-popular Disappointment Cave. There's a hammer over here south of the grove. Aghanim, not required.
Yep.
The big chest in Thieves, which is where Big Dunka is right now. Oh, I think that's why he saved and quit, so he can just have sword beams. But this is an item here. The big chest was a map, so you have to kill it for a crystal.
Be interesting to see where this bow is sitting, because bow gets you logical access into most of pod, and you're not really one item away from doing much else, as opposed to like a fire rod from Skull Woods, I guess. Oh baby,
Was that Ice Rod?
that was Ice Rod.
Wow, nice find for hycutype.
Sorry, and I was
All
thinking
right.
ahead of myself. I meant boots to get the bow, not yeah. Yes, bows in the library.
So Big Duncan was able to kill off Blind. He picks up his first crystal. So yeah, that purple chest was required. Ice Rod, we need it. And this is more and more likely that we're going to see an early Turtle Rock.
Yeah.
Let's see if there's actually any. And there's Hype in Hype Cave right away. First item is our flute.
Yeah, so that's what, desert and potentially mire if it's bombos locked. Right there.
Well, yeah, they can definitely get into desert at this point. What to say? Really, that question, where is the boots?
Well, that flute certainly gives you a few more locations. That gives you most of desert, potentially mire if it's bombos, mire shed, checkerboard cave.
I mean, if they need... Okay, so they can't do mire just yet. I will point out you need either boots or hookshot.
That's right. Really interesting spot for, well, any progression, but the boots in particular would be the graveyard ledge, since hycutype passed that up when he had a relatively convenient time to do it.
And he has just enough breadcrumbs to look elsewhere.
Yeah.
Oh, Big Duncan, he can't do the shovel game. You can't do the shovel game with something following you.
That's right. Yeah, he thinks he's okay with leaving that chest there, but not going to work.
If he says something is following you. So you can't leave it off screen. You just... Usually, you'll see runners like what Haiku did. You'll come down here first, and then you'll backtrack and go grab the dwarf or purple chest. Alright, so we're getting a full check of desert here. We'll see if boots are required to beat it. We'll see if there's anything hanging out on the ledge, because I don't think we saw it earlier. Big Dunka getting his hammer. And I should point out, hammer gives him access to Death Mountain. The rest of Death Mountain. So Quake is required to get into Mire. Of course, our runners don't have that yet, so nothing to worry about. Boots are required for the bow, so we will be seeing boots at some point. Oh, a piece of heart on the ledge. Alright, Big Dunka gonna get his Ice Rod, and it looks like Haiku's gonna make his way into Desert. So here is what I was mentioning earlier. If there is a key on the lamp that Haiku's is coming up to here, then you need boots to beat it. But if it's an item, yeah, it's just an item, so you do not need boots to beat Desert. Boots can't be in GT, unfortunately, because they have to be Eastern before they get into GT, and the bow needs boots. Boots on Trinex? That I will give you as possible. Now, other than boots, the only other thing you need to beat this dungeon, you need gloves to pick up the rock in front of the last part of the dungeon. And, of course, a lantern to light the torches to unlock the boss door. So bigdunka is backtracking to check out the shovel game, and he'll probably just mirror and activate his flute right away while he's here.
Right,
so it's not too bad if you're going to check out, if you're going to do the shovel game, at least you can tie it together with activating the flute.
Right. This gets that whole thought out of your head, too, of leaving this square that you passed up. Sometimes the peace of mind is worth almost as much as the potential item out of it.
Yeah. So again, I want to point out our races are 3 and 2. So whoever happens to win this race will be guaranteed to move on to the group stage. The other runner will have to complete in the giant tiebreaker that we're going to have on Saturday.
Using ice rod strats on Landmola is not something you get to see all the time.
What time is the tiebreaker? Do you happen to know offhand? I'll have to look on the Discord.
It's 3 Eastern daylight time on Saturday. The same time as the regular standard weekly.
That's going to be impressive. I don't think we're going to see that many races in the standard weekly. People are going to be participating in the race or just watching it because of how exciting it is.
And yes, actually, it's that chat. My co-commentator Jet here is automatically into the group stages at 4 and 1. Probably about as good a time as any to face Christos.
Well, Christos is actually 3 and 2, so he's hoping for that win against me. I'm not gonna give it to him easily.
Nor should you.
We do have a couple of runners that are, what was it? Almegas won today. He's 6-0. I don't think we saw the TGH race yet.
No.
That's on Thursday. Tomorrow.
Yeah, tomorrow, yeah. Hycutype taking his bombos into Ice Palace here.
So he fake flippered to get over here.
Right, and not as well as the flippers, this normally logically assumes you have the hook shot as well. So definitely,
it could.
Yeah.
It's not guaranteed. There are a few chests you can get without hookshot, and the logic actually accounts for that. There's a few chests coming up that could potentially have hookshot or lead to hookshot.
That's right. And I believe you can even get further into a few more chests depending on the key layout if you get small keys early. But definitely, at least due to the flippers, everything here definitely a sequence break.
So bigdunka's going to finish up Desert, it looks like. Of course, as I mentioned earlier, you don't need boots to beat this dungeon. So he'll just get the big key from the right-hand side here. and then he'll be able to finish the dungeon.
Nice double Stalfos room there, taking advantage of a glitch that basically, if there's more than one Stalfos in a room, all of them have to be either in the able to take damage or the invincible phase at once. So by hitting the one that's in the damage taking phase, you pass that status on to the other one.
I didn't actually know how that worked so much as that it works.
Right.
So hycutype is setting up the bomb jump right now. He might opt not to do it. Okay, so he has the Cane of Samaria. So if he does get down to the bottom, and he's going to full clear the dungeon anyway, he can just use the cane to put it on the button. And he has a small key from earlier, so the hook shot, that hook shot room is not required at all. I like that the bombs just killed the penguins, just one explosion.
Yeah, the low percent strats there. Don't have the boots to do the full strat, I guess, but
all right, so this room that Haiku's in right now, it actually requires either hookshot, most likely hookshot, or cape or cane, because you're not supposed to take damage. The randomizer makes sure there's nowhere that you're guaranteed to take damage. So again, this is sort of a sequence break in addition to the flipperless. All right, there goes the second crystal for bigdunka. Haiku just picked up the big key for this dungeon, and he also got an item. So there's 3 items in Ice Palace.
okay. So something the chat's been talking about, it's been made official that unfortunately, this seed was actually used earlier today. So looks like they're going to have to at least pause the race for now.
So how's it going, chat? How are you doing? Hope you enjoyed what was this race, which apparently was a duplicate. It happens. Our organizers do give out a lot of seeds. It's just this sort of thing. It can happen. It's all right. But luckily we caught it, and they're able to do a rematch, which it looks like they're going to. Haiku and bigdunka are good to just launch into another one right now. So taking a look at our schedule here, tonight in 1 hour, we have Kong versus I Am the Swartz. And then tomorrow there's a ton of races. Now, our racers are trying to get their races in by Friday because of the tiebreaker that's happening on Saturday. So it was asked of us to make sure we get our races done by Friday. Right. So we have a ton of races set up for tomorrow.
Yeah, tomorrow is an absolutely jam-packed schedule.
Our organizers do a great job. I do want to give a shout out to everyone behind the scenes that are handling the seeds, making sure the commentary team is set up. I mean, there's just so much that goes on into this tournament. So definitely a shout out to them. Mistakes happen. We got Zelda here, though. The race will continue as soon as our racers have their new seed, and then they get to start over. And bigdunka gets to take revenge on Blind. So shout out to that. Maybe we'll actually get a pedestal / Aghanim seed. It's back on the table.
That's right. Everything's back on the.
If any of you are interested to see the next 5-0 race, the 2 racers that are currently at 5-0, going for the undefeated in this stage of the tournament, that will be at 9 p.m. Eastern, Act the Boker versus TGH. So that should be exciting to see. My race is on Friday at 5. There's a ton of races. I'm not going to go through all this.
Yeah. Unfortunately, I'll be busy doing something, so I won't be able to watch that 5-0 matchup. I'll be busy trying to get myself into the group stage as well.
Yep. Yours is 9 p.m. Eastern tomorrow. 3 matches at 9 p.m. Eastern.
Yeah, the other one there is a really good one too. Zero Rush, Amazing Ampharos. That should also be an incredibly hype race there too.
Yeah, he'll be busy actually racing.
Yeah.
Hopefully winning. Somehow, everyone, you have to watch 3 races going on at once. Just go for it. Enjoy.
Just put one on each monitor, stream one on the big screen, and I'm sure everybody you're living with would be totally fine with Link to the Past on 3 or 4 screens at the same time. No problem.
Just in case people are just showing up now, our racers unfortunately happen to get a duplicate seed from earlier. They were just given a new one, so they're gonna start over fresh. They're just setting up their games now. And we get to do a countdown. We get to do our speculations again. This is a double map seed. Look at that. Look at that hash. Double map. That means we're going to see a lot of boss burritos, I think.
That's right. It's like just going straight to Chipotle.
And note, there's no there's no boots on the thing this time, so maybe we're going to get a bootless seed. So yeah, our racers are just starting over now. So yeah, just pretend to start at 10 p.m. Eastern. Apparently, the duplicate seed had something good at T-Rock. Oh man, that would have been good to see.
Yeah, it's just, and I realize that race apparently just happened, but there's just in terms of safety and in removing any doubt of there being anything going on, it's just safest just to do this.
Yeah, so I like hycutype's phew. I guess he wasn't enjoying the seed. Now, I suspect we'll see the same opening from hycutype and bigdunka. What was it? Bigdunka, he went Sanctuary first, so I suspect we'll see the same thing.
Yeah, I can't imagine they'll be changing the early part of the race.
Yeah, so again, our racers just had there was a technical difficulty behind the scenes, and our racers are just starting a refresh. Here we go, a small key in Sanctuary, so bigdunka could potentially just full clear escape in one go.
Oh, really nice 8 bomb drop there from the first guard.
I need to refresh my stream. I am behind. That is a nice drop. Although nothing good from the small crab. Again, if it's good to check because he can drop bombs, he can drop red rupees. There's the boots! Chat, we found them! They were in this seed the whole time.
You witch! Yeah, you called like no boots in the hash. That means we're gonna get them. Look at that! Wow.
All right, change of plans. We're gonna get a fast seed now, and this is actually nice for hycutype since he went to Uncle first. He'll be able to dash through this section of the game where bigdunka is actually walking.
Yeah.
We might see him lap bigdunka. We'll have to see how this works out.
Your opponent getting early boots like that is certainly not crippling by any stretch of the imagination, but it does sort of let him build a little bit of time on you. Oh,
that's the moon.
Wow.
Pearl.
Okay.
What is going on? Who made the seed? It wasn't me. I swear. rupees isn't too bad from a tree pull. Although when you already have 8 bombs, you don't really need to go buy bombs.
Right. Probably why he decided not to take the time to go pick them up.
So it looks like Big Dunka actually saved and quit, went to his house, so he can go this lower route to farm for bombs. So of course, the guard happened to drop the 8-pack of bombs, so he didn't need to farm any.
Yeah, so it looks like half magic it was in the lumberjack cave, so we won't be getting that in all likelihood.
It's like a 4-minute time loss. You really don't want to invest the time.
No, I mean, I guess
magic.
there's also always the possibility that this winds up being aggro required anyway.
Sure, in which case it could be a quick pickup. So just a reminder for chat, the items that we'll need to get in a Dark World at this point, they're going to need at least 1 glove. So until we see a glove, we have no idea. But of course, you need 2 gloves or a glove and hammer.
I haven't come across anything else of interest in the early part of Escape here yet. Oh, Escape Kakariko yet.
Yeah, the swordless dashing spray is not one you usually see. Bombos again.
Oh, Keladoran, thank you for the bits. That's really appreciated.
It's not glove and hammer, it's arm and hammer.
Literacy in the back part of the well here.
So, gloves, or sorry, not gloves, boots and book. Smells like desert.
It sure does. And thank you for the bits as well there, Jay McKitt.
Alright, so it looks like we got our items worth. I think we've seen everything else at this point.
Yeah. As you said, that's a really strong play to go to desert here. So do you, I don't want to say rush desert, but do you go there without extensively looking for hammer and fire first at this point?
It's a hard call, because you won, well, they really have no way of killing Lamolas at this point, so I guess it doesn't matter that you can't access them, and they can get everything else. I don't know. I think I would still do the usual mini Moldorm cave.
Forget all that, though. Big Dunka.
Oh, we're gonna see!
Check that pedestal.
I missed the crystals. What was it?
I didn't catch them either.
Crystal. I didn't see what desert was a crystal. I'm just not sure if it was 5 and 6. I don't think it was. Maybe our tracker Blast Egg caught it. Here we go. What is it? Maximum health increase. Boring.
The 20 heart dream is dead.
I like the troll dream. If it's like magic powder or mushroom, then you're like, do I need this? I have no idea.
That's amazing. That's amazing when you're watching, not when you're actually running a seed with that, but
so Big Dunka's still putting up, he has no idea it's an escape right now, and once he gets to escape, he's gonna be able to get his boots, and then eventually he'll also get his moon pearl. Just a slight advantage for hycutype at this point with the early boots.
Yep, I'm Big Dunka heading over to Eastern early again, so I guess this is normally his what he likes to do. I guess in terms of playing these seeds out is heading over here after finishing the Kakariko area.
Well, the interesting thing about Eastern, I mean, you have the 3 chests here behind Sahasrara, so it's really quick, but at least half the dungeon of Eastern has like the same requirements. It's like you were saying last race. It has it's completely open to them.
Absolutely. The seed can essentially put anything in the first, 4 chests of Eastern? 3?
Right.
Yeah.
I would say 3, and it depends if they get the big key.
Right, yeah.
Or where the big key is, I should say. Okay, so Haiku does have to watch his bomb count here. He doesn't have any other way of killing these Moldorms. Looks like he should be okay. Oh, not that one.
Can't miss now.
Oh no. Okay, he has cooked the bomb. Throw it. There you go. Oh, he has a safety bomb. There's the big key for Big Dunka in the first chest, so he will be able to open the big chest. There's the cane again. Oh man.
Oh, man. Showing up early twice in a row, that's really, really interesting. That tends to be one of the items that tends to show up last a lot of the time.
Yeah, that's one of our trolley ones. So there's 3 items in Eastern. Big Dunka just picked up the first. He'll be able to get 2 to 3 items in here. I think he did the dark room earlier, so
yeah,
I don't see why not.
Yeah, the first dark room in Eastern here is really not that difficult. Once you get through it once or twice, it's pretty straightforward.
Now, hycutype could opt to do a fake flipper. He can actually visit the waterfall fairy. However, without 500 rupees, he might opt not to do that. Or he will go for it because it looks like he's doing it now. He's going for it.
Oh, he's doing the boot setup. Oh, this is really interesting.
Oh, is this for the water walking, huh?
Yeah.
So with this setup, he should actually be able to get the Zora Ledge item if it's good. Although you'll have to get that fake flipper that Haiku just did, you have to get that on the first try. If it takes you multiple tries, you lose the thing that hycutype just set up.
Right. The other thing here too is that if you move left or right in a cave, you lose the stored version of it. So if he gets these 2 chests, he won't actually be able to get the ledge item.
Well, it's a shield, which is not really useful, but Big Dunka is making his way. Well, he can still water walk, he just can't get to the ledge item.
Right. If he tries to jump down the waterfall.
Oh,
no!
It's actually a thing.
I guess he doesn't know that. I mean, unless I'm mistaken, he's gonna soft lock here. Yeah.
Yep. Oh no, and he couldn't buy from Zora anyway. So a mushroom there. Ooh, Big Dunka just pulled it off. He has a half a heart left, but he was able to get that last chest. That means he found all 3 items, and there was nothing of worth in Eastern. Speaking of Eastern, though, it looks like Haiku might be heading there now. And Big Dunka heading to the southern portion. Still missing out on those boots, though.
Yeah, it's unfortunate if he heads all the way over into desert from here.
I suspect he's looking for something that it looked like the way he did it last race. He likes to combine Uncle with Escape. So he's looking for some way to kill the guards.
Which he will get in his Canis Samaria and Mini Boulder Cave.
It's true. It's just the way Big Dunka routes. I would say it's still early. So, I mean, he did check Eastern before hycutype. It could have been worth. He might have been able to get Bow and just finish it up there. He could have found, you know, a hammer or something. So it could have paid off. And actually, Big Dunka will be able to buy the Zora item if he fake flippers, which I suspect he will do since he did it last time. So we'll see what Zora has for sale. Always nice when you can get a double kill with the bomb there.
Sure how that one missed.
They can't use bombos right now without a sword. You need a sword to cast bombos. Otherwise, I think it kills knights, the guards.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure Bombos works on all the guards.
All right, bigdunka picking up his cane. IQ making his way through Eastern here. It's sort of funny, the designers of Zelda, like, it's just so well designed. It lends itself really well to randomizer. I mean, you have like something like, you look at Ice Pals requiring hammer. It's such a weird requirement. Or you have like in the Mimic Cave, it actually requires hammer, even though to get to that cave, you need a hammer to access Turtle Rock. It's really weird. But it's nice that they put that in because it makes randomizer interesting.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm assuming they did it because they wanted. I mean, one of the big advantages, or not advantages, but draws to Zelda is the plethora of items that Link tends to get, and using them in combination with each other. So I'm assuming that was the idea behind that level design. But
Yeah.
it certainly has played itself out really, really nicely for the randomizer idea.
I mean, you're seeing an open style of race right here, which just means the map is open to you right away, but it has all of the dungeons in their normal location and everything. But we also have entrance rando, which shuffles up the entrances to caves amongst each other, and that's where something like the Mimic Cave requiring hammer makes it interesting. I like Haiku using the cane to figure out where he is in the dark.
Yeah, this is an underutilized way that the cane is really useful. The cane is one of those things, you get it so late in the vanilla game, you don't realize how versatile it really is until you play the rando.
Yeah. And also, Haiku never checked the hobo because he was setting up that water walking thing. So yeah. 300 rupees from the hobo, bigdunka could easily afford the Zora item at this point. And I wanted to also point out Haiku could have used the boots when you start dashing. You can also use that to figure out where you are. It's not fast, but at least it's something.
Yeah, the other interesting dark room strat you theoretically have would be to use bombs, because you can kind of tell how the screen is scrolling when there's a static item like a bomb on the screen.
Yeah, I'd like to use that in pod. It's a good way to check there. Alright, so we're seeing the play to desert. Haiku's looking at his items saying, okay, I can enter desert and I can complete the first half of it.
Certainly feels like this is where the seed wanted you to go to this point.
I'm actually curious on bigdunka's side to see if he gets something of worth here. Technically, this is a sequence break at this point because you need either gloves or flippers to reach Zora. It's just bombs, though. Which he needs, so 500. If you pay 500 rupees, you might as well pick them up.
Yep. I know a lot of runners who basically pick up whatever Zora gives them just because they spend 500 rupees to get it.
Oh, we have a glove on the ledge at desert.
Oh man, what if there's a fire source actually in the first part of the dungeon here? That'd be amazing.
Right, you need glove and you need a fire source in order to beat desert. Glove gets them access to the back of escape. And if they find Lantern, then we're talking about things like Death Mountain that are open at that point.
This is a bit of a curious decision from bigdunka's end here, heading over to Agina and Desert before doing the escape sequence. Has a reusable weapon now with the cane.
Well, let's see if he actually needs boots. Yes, he needs boots to get the other item here. So Haiku will be able to get the key on top of the torch. Bigdunka, unfortunately, he's going to have to leave. Well, I mean, he'll go get his gloves, but then he'll have to leave. I think from Big Dunka's perspective, he really is just looking for that sword. Oh, Kane strats. Oh, nice. He's just picking up and throwing it around. That is really neat. Wait.
Oh, the other glove!
Oh my gosh. And Haikyu's going to pick up the big key here. That's why he's continuing. But he can't do anything else in this dungeon. He's going to pick up the other glove. So this is interesting, chat. We saw the power glove on the ledge. When Haiku and Big Dunka get there again, it's going to become Titans. Here's the big problem, though. I think this is the progression. Big Dunka has to get boots, and then he's going to have to come back to get that glove, and it might be a while before he comes back.
Wow. 2 scoops of vanilla in desert. That is crazy.
Wow. Alright, Haiku picks up his Titan Bits. He has Moon Pearl. That means he can go to Village of Outcasts. Can Kane hurt the desert boss? I'm not sure. I think so. Although it seems like that would be a complete pain. Alright, Haiku's first going to check out King's Tomb. He might also head into Back of Escape first before he goes over to Village of Outcasts. It's like Chrono Trigger, that's right. The power glove becomes golden because of the sun. Clearly.
So a few people in chat were actually discussing something that would have been really interesting was that technically Big Dunka could have gone into the back part of desert, grabbed the small key, and came back and grabbed his Titans without having to come back for the boots.
That would have probably saved him some time at this point. We did get a bottle from the Back of Escape, along with a map. So there's still... Oh, and they got a small key earlier. So all of the chests in the front of Escape have items at this point.
Right. The one in the sewers, of course, still technically locked by the lamp.
And looks like Big Dunka's finally making his way over to the front part of Escape. He'll get his boots, which he'll probably be kicking himself with.
Yeah, I'm about to say, probably feeling a little bit sick to the stomach when you see that.
Speaking of sick to the stomach, Sick Kid has his allowance. Red and blue mail. So what, it lets you absorb ice and fire, huh? And we got the boots for Big Dunka. We have a green pendant at Mire. It looks like it was a red pendant at Swamp. And blue pendant at Pod. Ice was Crystal 6. And I did not see Crystal 5.
Pendant Swamp always makes me a little bit uneasy for 2 reasons. One being that there's 6 potential items in it, and 2, not having or wondering whether or not you need the mirror is always a little bit unsettling. Particularly because of the mirror, in addition to Swamp itself, unlocks, I think, 7 overworld locations. And they're...
Wow!
Is this even randomized? I mean, really?
Well, it moved it over 1 chest. We got Fire Rod in its vanilla dungeon of Skull Woods, which you need to beat the dungeon. Now, Haiku cannot continue and beat the boss here because you also need a sword. Because vines can only be cut with a sword. You can't burn them down. You're stuck. You need a sword.
I have to say, though, something I haven't personally seen would be needing to go into the back of Skull Woods to get progression out of that chest on the bottom without actually having to go and kill Mothula. I don't think I've ever run into that.
Now, we didn't see the front of escape from hycutype, so let's see if bigdunka finds anything good. Another big key.
Bigdunka did find the red meringue in the first chest down here.
So something neat that you'll see in hycutype, he just picked up a magic refill. It's right next to the big key chest. It's good to know in case you need magic at this point.
So he's not opting to go over to the other side to check that chest that he can get to.
Just a red rupee and from Zelda's chest, and we know there's an item in the dark room.
Just the plate of nachos in the big chest.
Well, Fire Rod, I think, is a great find. They won't have to search everywhere for it. Bigdunka is about to get his Moon Pearl, but unfortunately, he's going to have to go backtrack to Desert if he wants the second glove.
Right. He doesn't. He essentially has nothing to be able to do Aga 1, so he's more or less going to be forced there.
Like, he could sequence break his way up to Death Mountain. It looks like he's going to check out the sick kid first since he's over here. Nothing good on the ledge, so hycutype's probably going to make his way into town now.
It's like Bigdunka is heading down to Desert. Can't imagine why else he would be heading down this way right now.
I think a save and quit would have been a little faster.
I think so,
just
too.
because you start at Link's house. That's okay, he is making his way to Desert. I mean, it's really the only option to him that isn't a sequence break, so it's where the progression is, and he'll find out in a moment that it's his glove. And Fire Rod was in Skull Woods. And it's actually, but until they get a sword, it's actually a good item to have. They can use it as a weapon.
Absolutely. It's even with the sword, I love the Fire Rod. If I had to pick a favorite item, Fire Rod might be it, honestly.
Oh, man. I like Hookshot's my favorite. It's just so useful.
Yeah, oh yeah, tons of versatility there too. That's a good choice.
Something you don't usually see from any percent runs of Zelda is how useful Hookshot is for just getting around until you get boots. There's so many things you can grab on, and it does save you some time compared to walking.
Do you know what the distance ratio for Hookshot being worthwhile is? Is it any distance that's not worth dashing, or?
It's any distance not worth dashing. It's actually faster than walking. It basically pays for itself, essentially. It's like an average of, I don't know the exact number, but it's almost double, I think, of walking. But you want to dash when there's at least 4 tiles to go.
Right.
That's when dashing becomes worth it. So if it's less than 4 tiles, Hookshot. If it's greater, dash. Got a blue suit, which is actually nice to have at this point.
A little pause there, I guess, wondering if he wants to just check the first 4 or complete it. Looks like he's opting to finish it.
I mean, it is a crystal dungeon, but it's like we were saying earlier, if there's an item in the big chest, he's gonna have to come back once he has hammer. Alright, so Bigdunka got his gloves. He just picked up the big key, so he doesn't have to come back later.
Hycutype making his way to the Hellway here can actually dash on it, potentially, if the enemies will be nice enough to him.
It's a little harder without the sword, though, because you can't just dash through them.
It is possible to dash straight up the gut there. It's generally referred to as the God pixel. There's exactly one pixel you can get on to be able to do that, and then you do need a little bit of RNG in that you need the enemies to stay out of your way.
Hycutype held himself up just a little bit because of these annoying crickets, or whatever they're called. Frog enemies. Shoutouts to Cross Product. I mean, it's green like a frog, so maybe.
Sure.
There are 4 items here in Thieves. I haven't been keeping track. We saw blue mail, we just saw bombs. I thought we saw another item. But we also had a big key and a small key in the earlier chests.
So bigdunka also opting into the early Skull Woods here. We'll be grabbing his fire rod.
Now, I know Fire Rod does not work on Blind. The only thing that hurts Blind is Blue Cane, Red Cane, and Sword.
And hammer.
And, well, sorry, Hammer's pretty much a given. So yes, Hammer. I should say it. But arrows don't work, Hookshot doesn't work. And the rods don't work. Yeah, Death Mountain at this point is technically a sequence break. You either need Lantern or a flute to get up there, and I think that was a compass, wasn't that?
Oh my god, I hate it when the Ace Axes do this. Oh.
It's like they like to walk up the center and just fire. I hate that red one. You can see Dunka's not that far behind at this point. He's roughly a dungeon behind. But if he makes different choices in his routing, it could go either way still. We're early in. There's no dungeons completed yet for our runners. Plenty can happen. And this time they don't have the knowledge that, like, Bo required boots. Like, we have no idea what's hidden where. So the nice thing about killing Blind with the cane, with the red cane here, is that the blocks themselves do damage, and you can also fire it like a fireball. Okay, careful, Haiku, you got this. Last minute.
Oh, bigdunka is opting to check this one chest here in Skull Woods, so this could be big if there's something here for it.
We only saw one item in this dungeon. That would be interesting if this is something. Unfortunately, Haiku getting the map from Blind, that means there's an item in the big chest. Oh, it's just a burrito.
The map.
Looks like he's going to death warp, which means a health refill as well. Now, without the mirror, hycutype could still opt to get the frog, but it'll have to follow him around, and he'd have to do a save and quit if he wanted to take it back.
Right.
To become a dwarf. But it is accounted for in the logic. Flippers, which means he can go get that mushroom.
Right.
At least, I mean, with mushroom there, you could just backtrack to turn it in, or ideally you get flute, and then it's just a quick check. Okay, we're going to get a Frog World Tour.
Thinking he was thinking about going up and doing like the hammer pegs and stuff, then went, oh, hey, wait a minute. I don't have hammer or mirror. I can't actually do anything up there.
You know, we are over 30 minutes in, and we still haven't seen a sword. I didn't plan that, what? I swear.
What was that, Jet? What?
Why can't I do that in my races?
So you didn't see this seed earlier, right? Because you
I
called the
swear I had no idea.
You called the sword.
I was looking at the timer, like, you know what? They still don't have a sword. Hycutype trying to dash around without one. Hycutype picks up his first sword. He's going into Hype Cave. I don't think that's a commentator's curse. I think that's a commentator's blessing.
Absolutely.
And there's the fluted in Hype Cave again. Oh my gosh.
Wow. Hype Cave actually having moderate levels of hype 2 seasons in a row. It's crazy.
Now with Titan's Mitts, they can check out Mire itself.
That's right, Mire itself or the shed. Again, if you're Bombos locked, you have boots. You could actually get in there.
I'm gonna have to check out that clip later because I have to refresh the restream, so I don't quite know how well timed that was, but it looked pretty well timed on my end.
Yeah.
All right, so hycutype did do a save and quit, which is how he was able to get the dwarf here into the light world, and you can get his item here. It could be mirror potentially. Not this time. Not this time.
Yeah, I was just about to say that saving and quitting, it feels like most of the time it's junk, but when it is an item, it just seems to be the mirror more often than not, for whatever reason.
It definitely makes you feel far ahead when that pays off.
Yeah.
All right, get your swag ducks and jazz ducks in chat, please. All rise for our anthem. I don't sing it, so sorry, chat. Bigdunka picking up his blue tunic.
And it looks like hycutype is going to take that sword and finish off Skull Woods here, no?
Oh, yeah. There is still one more item. Bigdunka didn't get it, so that means Mothula actually has that item.
That's right, because we did see the big chest, so...
I mean, we already got one item of worth in Skull Woods. Could we get a second?
It is Skull Woods. This tends to happen.
Yeah. I would not be surprised.
No, neither would I.
The only downside really is that you're using Fighter Sword on Mothula, which is annoying. He takes a lot of hits. But you also have Fire Rod. You can get a couple of shots in.
Shitbreaker 7, thank you very much for the 2-month resub. Really appreciate that here at Speed Gaming.
Ooh, Haiku taking a bit of a fall there. You sort of want to go diagonal and make sure you don't clip into the star there.
Opting to Fire Rod all the mummies, so not gonna, unless he gets a lucky magic drop, not gonna have a ton of excess magic here.
I think he'll be able to get 2 shots, given this magic, or maybe this is 3. But I think Mothula takes 8 shots. I could be mistaken.
Yeah.
Okay. No, it looks like it's only 2. It does the same amount of damage as a Master Sword, which is what you're doing when you do a spin. It does the same damage as a Master Sword with the Fighter Sword here. Oh, I'm missing the second shot.
Yeah. The problem, of course, is that Mothula is programmed to not take any damage from these spikes. So that includes if he can't finish his damage recoil animation without getting into them, he'll take no damage from whatever you hit him with.
It's also really hard to set up a spin with the floor moving underneath you. You have to make sure you don't knock him into any spikes. It's a surprisingly annoying fight when you only have Fighter Sword here.
Right. And Mothula...
Nicely
really
done.
Yeah, super nicely done.
And we got a red rupee for his trouble. Hey,
Big
it was a
20.
crystal. It was a crystal.
Yeah.
Alright, round 2 for Bigdunka. He has Cane Strats again. We saw him practicing in this earlier. So the trick is you want to put the block down so when Blind comes awake again, his head is where the block is.
Yeah.
Oh no, does he have any safeties? Or potion refill? I think they got an empty bottle.
He might not have enough magic for this.
Yep, that's it. He's just dying because he doesn't have enough magic. It's a hard fight, and it looks like Haiku's just going up the Death Mountain with his flute here. So, getting the old man, this part is a sequence break, but Death Mountain itself, since he has the flute, was not a sequence break.
Right. Definitely something that is fully available for them to do, although you can't really do much besides the Spectacle Rock Cave. I'm thinking Meyer is the intended play here. I would
Definitely.
be pretty surprised if Meyer either isn't Bombos locked or if there isn't another medallion in the Meyer shed for it.
I mean, Ice Palace could also be there too. And it's really hard to go into Ice Palace when you don't have Hammer, because only like half the chests are available to you, but it's totally a valid location.
Yep, absolutely.
I think Big Dunka is going to do a Frog World tour. Nothing up on Spectacle Rock. So it's Meyer or Ice Palace at this point. Or Mushroom, that's a good point. Mushroom we did see over at Zora.
Looks like we're opting for Ice.
Maybe.
Oh, nobody will grab that Mushroom.
And he hasn't checked Hobo yet. Hobo was only 300 rupees, so it's not a big deal. But that could be in the back of his head.
He hasn't checked Zora either. I don't think he had 500 rupees when he was up here, so.
Right. So he'll get the Mushroom. We'll see what that trolley item leads to. Big Dunk is about to pick up his flute here. It's actually nice that he got the flute there, because you're doing the world tour anyway with the dwarf, and you're just gonna be in town.
Yep. Yeah, no, it's super convenient in terms of your routing for sure.
So a neat little glitch that happens when Zora gives you an item and you don't pick up the item on the ground, then whatever was on the Zora ledge will also just show whatever Zora spit out. But it really is the Mushroom. Like, it doesn't look like what it is, if that makes sense. But the nice thing is you have flute, so you can quickly check out the Mushroom right away. Or you can just go into Ice Palace, whichever.
Ice Palace or Hobo, I guess, from here.
Oh, we're getting a play. Oh, no, okay, he's just walking around. I was getting hopeful for a moment that we would see an early Ice Palace.
Certainly is a gamble with no Hammer. Totally viable, though, as you said. Absolutely could be something of interest in there.
I mean, Hammer can be in there. So I feel like anytime a required item is in the dungeon that it's required for, like, that is a trolley play.
Yeah, it definitely is.
I would say the lightest one is that Fire Rod up at Skull Woods, because our runners are going to check that anyway, for the most part. But when you have Hookshot in Swamp, or you have Hammer in Pod or Ice Palace, it's just the sort of thing that you really put off.
Yeah, right. Bow in Pod is also another one. Hookshot in Swamp's probably the worst. Really. That you really, because of all the extra time it takes to get down there and drain the dam and everything, you really don't want to go in there unless you can fully finish it.
Yeah. So it looks like Haiku's finally doing Escape. I thought he did this part of Escape, didn't he? I guess he didn't. Oh, he left all the front Escape chests. So I guess before going over to Meyer, and it's interesting to see that he's not even just checking out what medallion Meyer is.
Right.
But before he commits to one of those long dungeons, I mean, technically Escape here is a dungeon, and it has it's just as likely that you'll get something of worth here. We just happen to already know what it is, and this will allow Big Dunka to catch up a little bit. It looks like he's going to make his way to get his mushroom.
So the chat was bringing up a few interesting things. One of them being that they do have the mushroom and the cane, so you don't have access to the magic bat yet. You would need either the hammer or the mirror, but if you come across one of those two things, you could theoretically do the magic powder glitch to sequence break the bat, which could be interesting if that...
I mean, it's only one item to check early, but hey, it's a sequence break.
Exactly. I mean, if that winds up taking like a partial dive into Turtle Rock out of the equation or something, because the seed wants you to go in there for the powder first before giving you your ice rod or something, like that can save you a whole whack of time.
Right. All right, I think Big Dunka is just gonna check out his mushroom right now. Yeah, they can't access the magic bat yet. That's, as you mentioned, you need hammer or mirror.
Yeah.
Oh, just a red rupee. Probably would have been more valuable as a sequence break at this point.
Yeah, unfortunately, no way to know that until it's already out of your inventory. But
it's the sort of thing, since you need hammer or mirror, like, do you really want to put off checking it because what if that's one of the required items or leads to it? But if you already have it, yeah. Definitely.
Alright. Hycutype off to Meyer. And Big Dunka going to polish off Mothula, it looks like.
I think that was Bombos.
I think so. I would be really surprised if it isn't, considering the way the seeds unfolded so far.
And we have Blue Cane over in the shed.
Right. And that is interesting because that gives you logically access to the one chest with the spikes now because you have an invincibility item.
Yep.
So that seemingly fortuitous positioning is not inconsequential.
Here we go. He's heading in. Now, he has boots, which is required to get over to the other side. Either your boots or hookshot. He has the cane. He's missing lantern, which is also a requirement for this dungeon, but if you can do the rooms in the dark, that's fine to go for.
Yep. I mean, Let might even just be in here. Could happen.
Look at all these bomb drops.
Yeah, this is pretty crazy. You don't see, I mean, I guess I don't see the Muse in a bomb drop group very often. It's odd.
So Big Dunka's going in with a bit more magic. So hopefully this Mathia fight will be faster for him. So you want to make sure you hit Mathia in the middle of his body. You can't hit his wings. hycutype picking up a bomb, a triple bomb pack, which is one of the items. There's 2 items in Meyer, and that's one of them that he just picked up. And this is also a pendant dungeon, but it's the Sahashala pendant.
Really nice fight from Big Dunka's in there too. Both runners handling a low equipment Mothula really well.
So that's Big Dunka's first crystal. He's just 1 crystal behind. He still has to go back and fight blind. And the neat thing is, though, since we know there's a required item in the big chest, Big Dunka might opt to wait until he has hammer. And that could be the difference. Like, for Big Dunka, if there's something of worth in the big chest and thieves, he might get it before hycutype.
Absolutely. That's a really good point. Hycutype actually did something really interesting too. He was low on hearts, so he actually stunned one of the Mews before killing it to check what the stun pack was to see if it was hearts.
Oh my gosh! Hammer in mire. What even?
Hycutype's not leaving, so I'm assuming that means he's looking for the big key, and then
He's thinking about it. It's a pendant dungeon.
It is green pendant. It is
Yeah.
technically an item behind, but yeah, he's decided he's with. I'm assuming he's thinking without the lamp, logically he's not supposed to have it, so he's going to leave it there.
Just also how difficult Vitreous is when you don't really have a good way of killing him. Like, you're missing the typical things that would make an easy fight, like bow and silvers, or just bow in general.
Yeah.
Or I guess you could use Blue Cane, but they take a lot of the eyeballs take a lot of hits.
I don't even think you can use Blue King because you need at least Master Sword damage to damage the eyes.
So now that he has Hammer, he can mostly clear ice. It's the same problem that we had earlier, where if you're missing hook shot, certain chests might not be available to you logically. So we'll have to see what happens here.
Right. You can get around those with bomb jumps if you know them all. So.
Oh no, Bigdunka opted to just go kill Blind now, but he doesn't have the hammer, so he's still, not able to check that. Oh, survive. Oh, there it is. I was a little worried there for a moment, but the blue mail paid off. Nice penguin kill there. Ooh, Master Sword for his trouble.
Really nice find and ice. I think Bigdunka is going to grab the purple chest here, something that Hycutype has not done.
This could be worth. Of course, so we know where Hammer is. That's an important item. It unlocks quite a bit. Actually, no, they had flippers, so they could have went to the right-hand side at any point of the Dark World.
Yeah.
They still don't have access to Death Mountain, though.
Yeah, that I'm assuming that will mean that Hookshot or Mirror will be your next major item in all likelihood for exactly that reason.
Right. So unfortunately, the purple chest did not pay off for Bigdunka. He's making his way to the Mire location, and hopefully he'll decide to go inside to get his hammer. So yeah, so this is the curious thing about the logic. He didn't get a key in the first chest, but if he gets a key, I think from the ice golems, he can come up the stairs and go to the right. Oh, is he gonna? He might be going to set up a bomb jump.
Looks like he's just going to bomb jump the rune that's intended as a hookshot gap.
So this part right here is technically a sequence break as far as we know. So let's see how he does with the bomb jump here. This is one of the bomb jumps that no one ever knew about until Randomizer. It's like, why would you ever need to do this? Why would you even come here in any %?
Right. Very nicely done, though.
First try. It's actually not too bad of a setup. If you just press against the block and just go down as far as possible, you're pretty much hovering. You're sort of standing like right on the edge, such that your shadow is completely covering all of the pixels that you can see. That's all you have to do. Like, you just stand there, put the bomb down, and you'll get pushed diagonally. It's actually not too bad of a bomb. It looks more impressive, I think, than it is for setting up.
Right. Extremely useful, though, for exactly this particular situation.
So the big key was on the right. So if he does not get a small key from the ice golems, this was a sequence break, and it required him to get a hook shot. There's the map. Bigdunka making his way through Mire right now. I'm actually curious to see if he'll continue and just, try to get that green pendant or not.
Yeah, that's a good point. Just said would be a sequence break because no lamp, but
okay, it's a small key, so hookshot was not required. What are you doing, hycutype? Oh, he's gonna check out the iced tea room first.
yeah. Iced tea, stupid chest, whatever you fondly know this one by.
There's a hammer for Bigdunka. He's save and quit. He's out of here.
Yeah.
Oh man, so the big chest could have an item, and the problem is he has to bomb jump and head back to the left, so he can check the big chest. Without hookshot, the only way to get to the big chest is, bombing the intended.
This setup for this bomb jump here isn't too bad either. It's basically just hold up against the wall, and you're good.
You mean the pillar thing that's sticking out in the...
Yeah, if you just kind of come out and face the door and move up as far as you can, you're in the right spot.
Oh, a small key, so that means Cold Stare's holding the last item. And here's Bigdunka entering Ice Palace now. It looks like he caught up a little bit, but that's just because... Wait, what? They pretty much checked the same things. I didn't really see too much of a difference.
Yeah, no. I'm trying to think where Bigdunka's made up some time here.
So on hycutype side, you'll see those small pots that he's picking up from under the skull. That is enough magic to cast bombos. So as long as you have bombos at that point, you can take on Cold Stare if you wish.
Yeah.
Of course, Fire Rod, you need a full magic bar without half magic in order to break him open. Oh, he has blue goo. That's true. Although you really don't want to give Cold Stare a hug.
No, even in blue mail, Cold Stare hits like a small bulldozer.
Oh no! You just used the blue potion. There you go. And stop hugging Cold Stare, please. Fire Rod makes very quick work of Cold Stare. And he gets the bow! Oh my gosh, Mire and Ice Palace for the early plays. Like, this is the third and fourth dungeon the hycutype entered. Same thing with Bigdunka. Oh, I guess, no, they went into Eastern earlier, but... Yeah. Oh my gosh. There's the bow. They have the hammer. That gives them full access to Pod and Eastern.
I would assume you...
Oh, without Lantern.
Yeah. I'm assuming with Flute and no mirror, you polish off Eastern first to see if Armos is holding anything interesting. And then theoretically move on to Pod.
Yeah, that's the problem without mirror. Normally you would just do Pod. When you're done, mirror over to Eastern. And in general, mirror is nice to have when you do Pod because there's a lot of backtracking. So we'll see what hycutype and Bigdunka opt to do. So Bigdunka did the normal strat, which is go down to the left to get whatever that item is from the ice columns. It was a key, so he's able to go to the right. So he didn't fall and set up the bomb jump. Alright, here he goes. Hycutype's gonna finish off, like you mentioned, Armos. I thought we saw all three items here, though. I have to make sure I don't mix it up with the other seat, but I think we've seen 3 items. So this is just a crystal. Which is not a bad thing to get, by any means.
Right. And this is the way that makes sense to do it, because you don't have the mirror.
mean, once he's done here, he can just flute back down to where the portal is just to do pod.
Actually, the other thing you could theoretically do is you have crystals 5 and 6 now. You could.
Oh, they could fairy?
Yeah.
I didn't even realize that. I mean, really, the big item I would say they're missing is that mirror. But you don't... Swamp is a pendant, so maybe Mirror's not an option. But the thing is, Mirror gives them access to Swamp. Given their current items, it gives them access to Death Mountain. So... nicely done from hycutype. He used the arrow on the Cyclops to figure out where he is, and then he was able to kill him with the bow.
Yeah,
that was nice.
Yeah, that's the strat I like to use too. That's the easiest one that I found.
Honestly, that room and the rat and escape are annoying to do in the dark just because you don't know where they're standing.
Yeah, depending on what.
And also the hammer pet, the turtles in pod.
Yeah, that's the worst dark room in the game for me personally. Is that turtle room with no fire rod.
Yeah, it's not too bad if you have fire rod. Honestly, so far the seed really wants them to go into pendant dungeons. We've already seen pendant mire was required. It looks like they're going to go into pod, so maybe they'll get something of worth there. Here's another crystal for hycutype. Bigdunka's almost finished here. He's getting trolled by the anti-fairy. Isn't it? Is that the... I don't know. It's Bob. He's getting trolled by Bobs.
By Bob's. By Bob's distant cousins.
It looks like Bigdunka's going to grab himself a fairy here. You just fall into the side. Leads to a fairy room. And yeah, hycutype making his way over to Palace of Darkness.
Yeah.
Also, what is it? Mullet Mansion or something?
Mullet Mansion, yep.
Bigdunka getting some magic refills first, so that way he can use bombos, and then he'll have plenty of fire rod shots. Not quite enough to just kill Cold Stare straight up, but enough to give you an advantage. Yeah, I guess we should say why it's Mullet Mansion. Business in the front, party in the back.
That's right. And
so many small keys in the front.
Yeah, exactly. And yeah, we've seen both items in Desert Palace, so no reason to go back there until you're just cleaning up Land Molas and Goma, really.
It's quick enough to get if you have Mirror, because you can just flute over there, but honestly, it's not too bad in general.
Yeah. And it's obviously it's a relatively easy kill with the fire rod, but you might as well go over there with the largest amount of equipment that you can, just to make it as easy as possible.
No potion required for Bigdunka. He finishes off Cold Stare, gets himself a bow. Let's see where he goes next. Right now, I would say hycutype is about half a dungeon ahead of Bigdunka. Bigdunka's just, even though he had a late grab on the boots and the unfortunate death to blind, he's still catching up to hycutype.
Yeah, absolutely. He was at least a dungeon and a half back a little while ago, so he's definitely made up some time.
Oh, I think we might be getting a Fat Fairy check right now.
Yeah, it looks like it.
It's like you said, do the Fat Fairy. He can also check out the pyramid, and then he can go over to Pod. So, unfortunately, hycutype, doing this dungeon, he doesn't have Mirror. So one of the things you could do is you can go forward on the right-hand side and bonk across the gap. to go backwards. And it's really nice to do, since normally you'd like to mirror and go to the front of the dungeon. And this way you can check all of the chests and just continue from here.
Yeah.
Not much of a time loss.
Yep. Really, really good routing, good knowledge on his end. All right, so this could be what really helps Big Dunka get right back in this.
Honestly, even if he gets something like Tempered Sword, that would be a great advantage.
Absolutely.
Or Silvers or something. Big Duncan needs something good here on the pyramid or at that ferry. Nope, just arrow upgrades. I actually said that wrong. No, whatever. Arrow upgrade. The lantern!
Okay.
Fat Fairy required, technically. Technically required. hycutype is doing the dark rooms, so I mean he's probably fine. Looks like he's setting himself up a bomb jump, but unfortunately, bit of a fall.
Yeah, I gotta reset the room and try it again. So the lamp is interesting because much like the Tempered Sword that you were mentioning, that is a net time save because not that hycutype's not capable of doing the rooms in the dark. He's shown us that he is, but you'll do them quicker in the light.
Yep.
So.
And you can do things like setting up the torch glitch a little easier for Ganon, just lighting the torches in general in Ganon's tower to save yourself some magic. But like right here, hycutype has to set up, use the sword to sort of figure out where he is in this dungeon.
Right.
2 items. There's 5 items total in Palace of Darkness. hycutype just picked up 2 of them.
So it looks like Big Dunka is going to opt to finish off the overworld he has remaining before he moves into Palace of Darkness and finishing off Eastern.
What did he get from that chest? Was that the big key? No. I don't know. So nothing popped up. If nothing popped up, typically that means you picked up a dungeon item like the big key. But it might have been the map, because I forget what we saw earlier. But those are the items that you don't really get to see. Oh man, hycutype having a little trouble in the dark here.
Let's say, I think he's a little too far north. There we go.
Oh, just bombs.
A whole lot of blueberries growing in pod.
So they're still missing the map. He could pick it up here in the big chest, or of course it just might be a boss burrito. That's it. There was nothing of worth in pod. Very interesting to get the bow and the hammer like that, but this is not the dungeon to get. And Big Dunka here, I mean, we could still see an item at Vitreous because of the Sahashala pendant. I should say an item at Sahashala. That there's still that Thieves Town big chest. Ice Rod in Spike Cave. Oh man, if they can only get to the right-hand side. Because Turtle Rock early is still on the table. Hookshot can be there.
So, other than the green pendant, do we have anything else on the table right now?
Green pendant, thieves, chests. Oh, they don't have we just saw catfish. We saw purple chests. They don't have. I think that might be it. Pedestal. No, they can't do pedestal from here. And in fact, this is not a pedestal seed at all, given that they're missing hookshot.
Yeah, Big Dunka actually already checked it early. No, it's a hard container.
Oh, yeah, that's right. He actually did scope it out. Here I was figuring out logically, and we already knew that.
So I guess hycutype, who doesn't have the pedestal information, is opting to finish off Helmasaur.
Given their items, though, well, okay, so he doesn't know where Ice Rod is, so for him, it's a possibility.
Right.
Or he might be thinking. Oh, okay, there he goes. And here's Big Dunka following behind him. Although I don't think Big Dunka's going to finish, since we know it's just a map. So once he gets the last item here, he's just going to go out. So this will allow Big Dunka to catch up a little bit.
Yeah, and he will save time because he doesn't have to do the dark rims in the dark either. So he should definitely, even though he could fully skip this, he is still going to pick up some time.
I think he was thinking about it. You can tell the pauses. He's sort of like, do I really want to go through this?
Yeah.
Oh man, yeah, I really do think it's the Hoshala pendant or the Thieves Town chest.
Hammer pegs as well, I think. I don't think we've seen
Hammer
that.
pegs, good point, good point. We haven't seen that yet. Honestly, my vote right now is for Vitreous, is for that Sahasha pendant. You don't usually see that being something, so that would be neat.
Might be the last place the runners opt to go, assuming they remember everything, because you can kind of route Hammer Pegs and the Thieves Town Big Chest in together.
True. We've seen all the items in Desert, so right now it'd just be them getting a crystal. So one of the things with setting up the dash over the gap here that Big Dunka's trying to do, you could just go back through the doorway and come back through to sort of reset the room. Might be a little faster than killing. Oh, and he's just going straight to the back. I don't remember where the big key was.
Hycutype's got to be a little bit careful here.
There he goes, not bad. Putting the bow to use. Compass. Why did I keep saying burrito? We saw the map in his inventory.
Yeah.
But we knew it was one of those dungeon items. Because it was missing from his inventory. So, essentially, hycutype is making the gamble that it might be pedestal required. I think he might be making his way over to Pyramid and Catfish. Unfortunately, he will not have a lantern because it's at the Fat Fairy.
He may opt to go south to grab the bomb first, although I would think saving and quitting and starting from Link's house would be quicker in that instance, but...
According to hycutypes, like from his perspective, Ice Rod or a medallion for Turtle Rock could be at pedestal.
Yeah, the pedestal is dead in this seed because we know that Big Dunka checked it and it's just a heart container, but hycutype doesn't know that.
Alright, Big Dunka pretty much finished since he didn't have the big key.
So he's going to go check the sewer chest.
We haven't seen that yet. And here goes Haiku. He's going to do the Fat Fairy, check the Pyramid, probably go to Catfish afterwards, because they're looking for that progression. But we forgot about this Dark Room chest in Escape. That would be interesting if this was like Mirror or something. Because this is the sort of the item that you might check earlier if you're comfortable doing rooms in the dark. Nope, just a red rupee.
Yeah.
Alright, so yeah. I think we're gonna go with Thieves Town, Big Chest, or Vitreous for the Sahashala pendant.
Right. Or the much more boring Hammerpack Cave, but I think those are the only things that we have left as far as we can tell.
That we haven't seen yet. Hycutype setting up some spin speed. I think Big Dunka is going to go to Hammerpeg / Thieves here.
Yeah. I'm gonna do the pegs first, which makes total sense. It's way quicker than your other two options.
You know, at this point, Big Dunka is mostly caught up to Hycutype.
He's basically an Armos kill behind at this point.
Although he gambled in pod, so he could be thinking there might still be something there. The red rupee, so it's either Thieves or Vitreous now.
All right.
If we would need to see Hookshot for either of our runners. Well, actually, for Big Dunka. If Big Dunka gets Hookshot, he's in go mode, sort of, because we don't know what medallion is needed for Turtle Rock.
Schrodinger's go mode, as it's often called.
It happens a lot. Because you're lacking that knowledge of what you need to get into Mire or Turtle Rock.
Or you're headed into Ganon's tower without either without Fire Rod or without boots or something.
Right. Yeah. Faux mode, I like that. Mushroom was not worth. It was what, red rupee, I think?
Yeah, something junk.
Alright, here we go. One of the possible locations that progression is locked behind. Let's see. Hookshot. We have entered Schrodinger's go mode. So this is the question. Do you go right up the Turtle Rock and check it out immediately?
I would, if it was me.
So it takes about a minute to get through this path to get to Turtle Rock, but it's a minute that will put you into go mode sooner. And I like that play. I think I would also just go right to Turtle Rock, get out of the way so I know if I'm in go mode or not.
Maybe if I have 2 medallions, maybe I think about it differently. But actually, yeah. Well, and you have to come up here for Tower of Hera anyway. I don't know. I think this makes the most sense.
That's right. They haven't even been in the Tower of Hera because they had no way of getting up here. It looks like Big Dunka is gonna check out items first. I mean, even if Bombos gets him into Turtle Rock, at least it gives you, maybe you can get like a safety bottle or maybe a sword or something. This could go really well for Big Dunka. If Bombos is needed for Turtle Rock, Big Dunka has entered go mode first. Now, hycutype has Eastern and soon Desert over Big Dunka. He'll have to clear this anyway.
Actually, now that I've been thinking about it, actually should clear Eastern and Desert before you come up here, because you know there's no items in either one of them. You're just killing the boss anyway. That way, if you have the right medallion, you can potentially save yourself a trip up here.
That is a good point. I didn't realize those are the only dungeons that are left.
Yeah.
So, I mean, normally if you have something like Swamp left and it's a crystal dungeon, yeah, you should come up here to make sure. If you can go mode Swamp, you want to go mode Swamp. But you have a very good point. Eastern, which has no items, Desert, which has no items, just get those crystals first.
Yeah. Yeah, this is a really rare situation that something like this comes up, like exceedingly rare. But yeah,
Wow. And so Big Dunka is gonna clear Hera first, since he doesn't have Mirror. He's gonna go do this dungeon. I don't think it's guaranteed to be 2 trips. If Bombos gets it, there's the mirror. It doesn't even matter. There's the mirror. I mean, it matters still because we don't know what Medallion gets into Turtle Rock. Okay, Haiku finishes off very quick Lamolas. Gets a crystal, and now he's pretty much ready. He needs that hook shot, though. He needs to go back to Thieves. And I think, from his perspective, that's all that's left. Yeah, that's what we're saying, Andy. If Bombos is required for Turtle Rock, you get all the crystals you needed here. You come up, you go into Tower of Hera to complete it, like Big Dunka did, and then you go over to Turtle Rock. And then you're done.
yeah,
It could be 1 trip, but more than likely it's going to be 2 trips.
right. And the fact that we just found Mirror in Tower of Hera actually probably increases the odds that you're going to have to take 2 trips now, because that opens up so much overworld. It opens up swamp. Now there's a much greater chance that Turtle Rock is locked behind something that's not Bombos.
Gwen, stop. Tower of Hera. Tower of Hera. So with Tempered for Moldorm, you could do a spin and a slash, and that would kill him off. Unfortunately, got a little unlucky there. Oh, he never did the purple chest. So Haiku is gonna check out the purple chest first. Unfortunately, that means he didn't go to do Thieves. He sort of got sidetracked here.
Yeah. I mean, obviously he's not going to be in the right world for it, but he's going to be in the vicinity of desert, so I hope for him that means doesn't put him in mire. We'll find out if Big Dunk is in go mode here in the next 10 seconds or so.
Here we go. Oh no, there goes Haiku going into Admire.
No!
You need Quake! Big Dunka is not in go mode. Cancel that go mode. We gotta wait just a little bit now. But unfortunately, Haiku's just getting further behind unless Sahasrahla has Quake.
Oh my
This would
god,
be an
could you
amazing
imagine?
play.
Oh, could you imagine?
I mean, there are a bunch of chests Big Dunka can check. As we were saying, he got Mirror. I mean, that unlocks Swamp for all of the items, all of the overworld items that are locked behind Mirror. Did we even see what was on the hilltop? I sort of missed it. The Skyloft, as they say.
I have 10 arrows, I think.
There's another bottle. Not even a bee in a bottle. What good is it? Oh, hycutype never got the big key, which is why he's still searching in chests. He has to find the big key first. Speaking of which, there you go.
There it is, yeah. Yeah, Mirror, absolutely the worst item that you could have found.
Oh, he got... No, he got Mirror. He never checked the Ether tablet, did he?
No.
Well, when he did Hera. Well, have a shield upgrade. Hycutype's making his way downstairs in Mire. He has the lantern this time, so this should be pretty quick. In order to get to Ganon, so of course you need 7 crystals, so you need everything required to get into the crystal dungeons. Aside from that, Ganon's tower itself requires hookshot, bow. You need at least Master Sword to kill Ganon himself, and then you might need something like hookshot. Oh, I already said hookshot. I meant cane of Samara. You might need that if the big key's on the right-hand side.
You also need a source of fire for upstairs.
Yeah, I was about to say you need some kind of source of fire.
Yeah. And potentially, unless you know the bomb chub strats to be able to do it with the lamp, potentially the fire rod if the big key is in the compass room.
You need Titan's mitts to be able to access the portal to get to Ganon's tower. I don't think you need hammer. It's technically not required for Ganon's tower, though, is it? It's just that
there's that one room on the left side where you have to pound down two of those
that's
things.
right.
Yeah.
The moles. I was thinking it's just so many dungeons are locked behind hammer that's required anyway.
Right. Which is also correct because there's more than 4 dungeons that require it, or more than 3, I should say.
So we're seeing some dash strats on hycutype side. Using the cane to give himself safety. Unfortunately, it's also some lag frames, but he has to be careful here. He's down to 2.5 hearts. He's running low on arrows.
Okay, did we ever find the validation arrow anywhere?
Because not if we this time.
Okay, because that's 1 arrow there left, so...
There's the Quake in Spiral Cave! Wow. Bigdunka is in go mode! Oh man, hycutype needs to make his way over to Thieves to get that hookshot, and he still has to find Ice Rod and Quake. But both items are up at Death Mountain. So maybe, I mean, hopefully that will just lead hycutype there once he gets the hookshot. He'll make his way up to Death Mountain and just be able to get everything there.
So
this is a race. I mean, sure. Bigdunka is clearing up these dungeons. It's going to take him a few minutes here. It's like a minute to finish Eastern. It'll probably be about. I mean, he has Mirror, so I would only say about 1.5 minutes or so for Lamolos. He has Tempered.
Where is hycutype off to?
Checking out the Sasho pendant that he just worked hard for.
Obviously, yes.
Doing a save and quit to the old man is pretty good if you want to do a health refill anyway. Oh, just 10 arrows. He needs arrows, but not what you want to see. Wow, what a race. Like, things have just completely flipped now. Where's he?
Hobo. He hasn't checked Hobo.
He never checked Hobo. Oh, no. It's all of these places that Bigdunka was able to route in earlier that now that Haiku's missing that one thing, which is a deep dungeon dive to go back to anyway.
Yeah, this is a super interesting race because hycutype actually has Desert and Eastern knocked out already. So when he does get that hook shot, he goes up to Death Mountain and then he gets everything up there. Like, he never has to leave. So he's saving the, what, 1.5 minutes in Eastern, 1.5 minutes in Desert, and another minute or so reclimbing Death Mountain, give or take.
Ice Rod was in Spike Cave. Quake was in Spiral Cave. And, you know, if you care about Mirror, Mirror was in Hera itself. Unfortunately, the more time Haiku takes looking for that hook shot, which is in Thieves, the more Bigdunka is gonna be able to catch up.
Right. Oh,
but maybe he is caught up.
Did hycutype miscount items? Because he's just pausing now.
He doesn't realize. Let me see if I can pull up his stream. If he has a tracker, we might be able to see if he knows. That's really hard. When you miss a chest in a dungeon, like if you miscount, that is a difficult call. There's so many things you need to check and go back to. So already you have everything on the overworld. Like, did I get this? Did I get this? But then it just miscounting and checking all of the chests in a dungeon. So Haiku missed there's a Thieves Town chest. He needs to get the big chest in Thieves Town, but he doesn't remember, or he miscounted the chests in that dungeon. He does not have a tracker that shows us the chest count, so I'm not sure if he realizes it. But it looks like he's doing the double check. He's going to like Ice Rock Cave to see if he's done it already. Yes, I did this. Oh, this is a shame.
Yeah.
Yeah, I really hope having to restart the race. I mean, it was up to the racers. They both opted to do this race right now rather than wait till tomorrow. But it can throw you off because it's like you check things in the other seed. Right, he might think he already got 4 items in Thieves, and now he's gonna check out the pedestal just to make sure, like, oh, okay, did I miss Hookshot and Mirror, and I need to do a pedestal seed.
Yeah, I feel for hycutype here. I mean, this essentially happened to me in my 4th race of the tournament, so I totally feel his pain here. It's just so easy to do. It's just one extra click on your tracker, or like one momentary lapse of concentration can, if it winds up being around that one item, that this is what can happen, unfortunately.
We say duplicate seed. It was a seed that was handed out to a different race right before this one at 9 o'clock. So they were just playing a seed that we've already seen, so potentially there's spoilers there. Looks like Haiku has remembered, and he's heading back into Thieves. Please go. Please, just keep going. Haiku, you got this. We know where the items are. Right now, Haiku needs to make his way to the big chests here in Thieves to get Hookshot, and then go up to Death Mountain and get everything else. Unfortunately, Bigdunka just got, for him, unfortunately for hycutype, just got the last crystal. He still needs to go do Turtle Rock, but like, he's done. He's in go mode. He's getting some potions for safety. Yeah, it's not over for either racer if they lose, because they'll just be entered into the tiebreaker race on Saturday. 6 of 32 people in that race will get to move into the group stages.
That is going to be a battle royale. That is going to be must-watch speed gaming right there.
Yeah. Alright, there goes Haiku getting his hook shot. And now hopefully he should just go right up to Death Mountain. And of course, now that Bigdunka is over at Turtle Rock, he has Quake, so he's going into Turtle Rock. All he needs to find is that big key and enough small keys to get through the dungeon, and then he's done here.
Right.
And beat Trinex. I guess you should beat the boss while you're here.
The potential danger for hycutype is if he gets that mirror in Tower of Hera and then leaves to check mirror locations. That would be the nail in the coffin.
I mean, I suspect he's going to at least check out Turtle Rock while he's here, see which medallion is required. But yeah, he needs to get that ice rod, and it's in Spike Cave, which is sort of it's a hard location to go to route efficiently, because usually you want to do a save and quit once you're done there.
Right, and the other thing is that the other item he needs, Quake, is in Spiral Cave, and doing both Spike and Spiral in the same pass through Death Mountain is, it's not difficult, but in terms if you're trying to do things efficiently, will mean like climbing Death Mountain an extra time or whatnot, so you could really easily decide, you know what, it's one location. I'm gonna leave it to go check out Six and Swamp or whatever. So
ideally, he would do Spike Cave first, get the Ice Rod, and then he would do this part that he's doing now, which is go to Hera. I mean, yeah, you have to go to Hera to finish it off and get the mirror, but then do Spiral Cave, and then enter the Dark World and do Turtle Rock. Like, that's the order, but, you know, he doesn't know that.
yeah.
Alright, Big Dunka did get a big key. He got a small key. What was on the lower left, though? Must have been an item.
Did he get over there yet?
I thought so. Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Honestly, Big Dunka checking out that Spike Cave earlier and finding the Ice Rod, I think, paid off.
Absolutely.
He just needed that. Oh no, he took a hit from a chain chomp, though.
Using one of his Baja blasts right away, not even gonna play around with it.
Yeah. So Haiku's still looking for one more item here, just to make sure. Which I think it's in the basement. No, Moldorm dropped it, didn't he?
Yeah.
So nice thing about being in go mode for Turtle Rock, Big Dunka there, he's able to grab the key from the pokey and not check that big key chest. You don't need it if you get the big key earlier.
Right. And actually, the second item actually is in the basement. That's right. Big Dunka came back in and went back into Tower of Hera after he went over to check Turtle Rock.
I was thinking the last scene when I think Moldorm dropped a blue rupee or something.
Yeah.
So some dash strats on Haiku's side. And then Big Dunka gets a small key from the big chest. So he is actually done no laser bridge for Big Dunka.
Yeah, I mean, he could still just opt to check it. What likely, since he knows where half magic is, it would likely be for silvers if he was going to, but I would expect him to just pass it up.
That's true. Half magic and lumberjacks.
Yeah.
So, I mean, this wasn't too bad in terms of logic. Only Myra was required. It's just odd that you had to do both Myra and Ice Pals before really doing anything else.
Right.
But, you know, in terms of items, this was sort of mostly free.
Yeah, I mean, it's sort of like a bit of a reverse troll in that the game gave you the bow when it did and then made Eastern and Pod both completely worthless.
Yeah.
But
yeah, there were definitely a few trolls, like where the mushroom was, Maya Green Pendant, someone in chat said. It's the sort of stuff that led you along, but didn't give you anything good.
so, one cycle on the first part of Trinex here for Big Dunka.
Plenty of hearts and everything. Finish this off.
All right. And with Trinex down, there is a little game we like to play coming up here, Jed, if you want to explain that.
Sure, it's time to guess the big key. So get your chesses in Get guesses. Get your guesses in chat. So you're looking to pick a number between 1 and 22, where you think the big key will be. We'll count it up, and we'll see who wins. Feasel and crew program the bot command. There's Quake for hycutype. He just needs that ice rod.
Hopefully he doesn't gamble Turtle Rock, hoping it's in there.
So I like to pick chest number 14, which is Bob's chest. I'd like to pick that one, usually.
I picked 21.
So I think I have to stop now, don't I?
Heading into GT, yeah.
Uh-oh, Haiku's making his way up to Turtle Rock here. He might do it early. Oh, this is gonna hurt.
I mean, hopefully he's just opening it, but that doesn't seem especially likely. Yeah.
Oof. So we will see the laser bridge. He's gonna clear everything looking for that ice rod. It's a trolley location.
And
it's not that he forgot. I think it's just so out of the way. It's one location, I'll get it later type thing.
Right, and I'm sure he has to feel behind. I mean, Hookshot was not only was it in like the last possible location he had on the map, but he actually needed a few minutes to even remember that it was an option. So like there's no way he can feel like he's ahead. He has to feel like he has to make up some sort of play to try to salvage something.
Anytime you get to the point of your race that there's just one location that had the progression, you're gonna feel behind. Okay, so far we had 8 chests on Big Dunka side. Still no big key. No, it was a blue rupee on the lower left. That's what it was. You need Ice Rod to kill Trinax, yes. The only time Ice Rod is required. I mean, it can help you kill Land Molas if you don't have anything else.
Argus as well, potentially. But yeah, pretty limited use.
Ooh, Mirror Shield.
Good old Riot Shield. And that fact is what makes Ice Rod potentially the trolliest item in the game. The fact that if it's needed for Turtle Rock, it can literally be anywhere other than on Trinex himself or in Ganon's Tower. So
I mean, I think it's the item that has the most locations it could be at, isn't it?
for a fully required item, I would assume so. Yeah.
Because even the medallions, they block the dungeon that they're in.
Right. I suppose if you wanted to get technical, the Sillars are required and could be absolutely anywhere, but...
That's true. Most of our runners can do silverless. Speaking of silverless, though, having to kill Ice Armos with regular arrows, you don't actually see that very often, do you?
No, not really.
So we're coming up to chest numbers 15 through 17, and if it's not here, it's on the right-hand side somewhere. There. Oh, big key chest for big key. So that is number 15. So if you guess 15, give yourself a cookie. Bad Spot 2 was the first to guess number 15. Oh, shoot. I typed it in too early. Oh, no, I didn't. I waited. All right, cool. We got this. Because I was talking about it. I didn't think about waiting because of the Twitch delay, but it totally worked out.
Yep.
A vanilla cookie, yes. Oh, man.
That's like what, the 4th or 5th thing that's been vanilla or vanilla-ish in this particular
I know,
seed.
this seed. Because we had the fire rod in Skull Woods.
So Big Dunk a little bit of trouble with the mimic rooms, but nothing too serious. Keeps on moving on. Down to 3 arrows. So I guess it could be a good thing that silvers are nowhere to be found.
So he's down to 5 hearts. I think he has a safety potion now.
I
has
believe
at
he
least
does,
a red
yeah.
potion. Some what? Kool-Aid?
Some code red.
That's right, gotta get our Gatorade. Wait, that's not Gatorade. That's Mountain Dew, isn't it? I don't even know. It's a thing.
I mean, Gatorade's also a thing in this tournament, so you know.
That's true. I was there for that one.
Yeah, so was I. That was entertaining.
Oh man. Alright, hycutype checking the last chest. Unfortunately, it's just an arrow upgrade. He's saving and quitting. Oh no.
Yeah, that's gonna put him even further away from Spike Cave.
Let's see where he goes first. He's fluting.
The flute. Yep.
Oh no. Oh, he got magic powder. So he's gonna check the bat first. I mean, that would be a neat thing to see in a seed where magic powder happens to be like. So this is a sort of thing where that sequence break with the mushroom and the cane for magic back can pay off if it gives you ice rod and you got it in Turtle Rock. Like that'd be incredible.
Of course, it should be said if you're going to do this, you should be setting up your portal outside the safety door to potentially have to save yourself doing a bunch of Turtle Rock over again. But
yeah,
it's not going to matter in this instance.
Not much. Not much.
Yeah. I mean, he could very easily go to Swamp. In fact, I would not be shocked if he just went over, checked the Grove spot here, and then just dove directly into Swamp afterwards.
Maybe Bombos first.
That too, right.
Bombos, south of the Grove. He's checking all the... I mean, probability-wise, he's thinking, like, okay, I need 1 item. I already checked Turtle Rock, so... You want to do dungeons in V26. So it's a great, from his perspective, this is a great location to check. We just know it's not correct.
I mean, when he leaves Turtle Rock without the ice rod, he's looking at his map and he sees all these green areas, or maybe he's not using that tracker, but in his head he's thinking, I have all these areas in the southwest corner that are available, and then 2 loose squares essentially at Spike Cave and the Graveyard Ledge. Like you're unless you're seriously gambling, you're not going to pick up those little 1 and 2 squares.
Oh man, Big Dunka had just enough magic to finish that torch room there.
Yeah.
It's always a good thing, especially at this section of the dungeon, to know where you can get your magic refills, and if you need it, your heart refills. But unfortunately, at this point in the game, there's nothing that would help Haiku catch up. Oh, even that butter sword is just not enough. And I almost said even Butter Sword, and then it would have dropped. It would have been glorious.
I mean, that would have given you the trifecta for the seeds, so...
Validation? Bomb upgrade. Alright, Big Dunka almost up at Aghanim 2, and Haiku's making his way into Swamp, and really, Silvers would be the only thing he can find at this point, and maybe Red Tunic.
Yeah.
It's called Validation Chess because everyone in chat likes to go crazy saying validated.
Well, I mean, I don't know how long you've been playing the randomizer for, Jet. I haven't been in it long enough for this, but I heard that back in the very, very early versions, that checking what item was in that chest was a way of confirming that the seeds were the same, which is where validation came from.
I didn't hear that.
Okay.
I mean, I heard from the first tournament, it's essentially like, oh, you're checking it because that way you know what items in there, and you didn't cheat. Like,
right, yeah. Sort of a similar thing to the same idea, so that makes sense.
Lamwin dropping a commercial in for the cross-product tracker, which I can mention here as well. It certainly helps me keep track of things in dungeons. For example, knowing what chests you checked in Thieves and how many. It's a nice, useful way. It's one of our trackers that our racers like to use.
And while that's like that story that I heard was hearsay, so it may not be right, but I'm not saying that it's not a meme. It definitely is. I'm just saying that's what I heard. That's sort of like the basis of it sort of started from. Not that it's not a meme, because it is. But.
So Big Dunka did get the nice pattern for Ganon, where he's sort of in the corner, and you could just be in the middle of the fire bats and hit him. So he's already on phase 3. No silvers, but as long as he's comfortable with his silverless strats, he'll be fine. And then we'll also get to see where silvers are because he'll taunt it.
Alright, let's see where they are.
Light World. So probably something with the mirror, huh? Maybe a graveyard ledge or something.
Or a checkerboard cave, yeah.
Yeah, arrows aren't gonna matter. I mean, Haiku is not in go mode yet, and Big Dunka would have to fall to Ganon like 10 times. But unfortunately, this sort of thing happens when you have one more item. I really think Big Dunka just, when he was checking those things, he sort of lucked out finding that Ice Rod. So Ganon requires 12 spins of Tempered here. Really want to be careful that you don't fall to Ganon. And you can, so the trick is that you want to spin right before Ganon does his teleport. If you do it too early, you freeze him, which is not what you want to do. That you would freeze him to hit him with silvers. There's a nice rhythm to it. You can sort of like, as you get practice, you get a feel for when you're supposed to let go of your spin. And there we go. Big Dunka has finished. GG to him. Wow.
Yes, indeed.
What a comeback. What
Absolutely.
a comeback.
Yeah, that was really, really nice. And Big Dunka has finished in first place with an official SRL time of 1 hour, 50 minutes, and 33 seconds. And hycutype has decided to forfeit as well.
SB Gaming 2. Alright, yeah, so unfortunately Haiku decided not to finish. He doesn't know where Ice Rod is, and alright. let's pull over. It looks like Haiku is waiting, so let's pull him over. Hey, hycutype. Oh, well, here's bigdunka as well.
Yep.
I'll just pull them both in. Hey, bigdunka, GG. And GG also to hycutype. It's a shame what happened at the end, but man, it was a race for both of you. Back and forth. Honestly, bigdunka, big comeback for you. You were behind for most of the seed because you got boots so late. And then, of course, you were looking for the items, but man, once you found those items at the end.
Yeah, great. Good game, man. That was... how close was that?
Well, hycutype's still looking for Ice Rod. That was the major issue. So, for most of the race, hycutype was ahead of you in crystals. He actually finished Eastern and Desert when you were up at Turtle Rock. Like, right before you even went into Turtle Rock, he had those dungeons done, I think is around then. Right. So, if hycutype was able to find the hookshot and Ice Rod, like, right after that, he probably, like, would have pulled ahead, but unfortunately, the hookshot trolled him.
Yeah, the hookshot was in an awful location in the basement. I mean, there wasn't many other places it could be at that point, and I hate it when you get the hammer right after going into Thieves Town. It's the worst.
Yeah, you really don't know is this the safe call to make. Hey, hycutype.
All right, am I good now?
Yes, we can hear you.
So is it in the Spike Cave?
Yes. That was so. I guess you had that feeling once bigdunka finished. Like, well, it's not here in Swamp. It must be somewhere you can get quickly.
No, I had no idea because I paid for the 2 seeds back to back. I thought I'd got 4 items out of Thieves Town, but I did in the previous seed.
Right.
So I didn't know how much trouble he might have with some of that low percent stuff. Because I was white knuckling through Thieves Town and Ice. So I just had no idea.
Don't get me started with Thieves Town, man.
We could tell that, like, that's what happened to you. At first, we were like, well, maybe you were just putting up because it was so deep. But then once you sort of you started rechecking your steps, and you're like, well, what did I miss? And it's like, oh no, because of the mix-up with the earlier race, and that's really a shame that happened. But even by that point, you still had a lot of catch-up to do. Because once you did get hookshot, although there was potential there, that Ice Rod location also trolled you, and you went to do like Turtle Rock, hoping to get Ice Rod in there.
Yeah, once you met, actually, now that you bring that up too, and I'm the luckiest person in this race because of what happened in that first seed, because I had to have been 5-6 minutes behind at least.
Yeah,
that's a real question. Which one of us was behind in that first race? Because I fell behind
was
also.
Way behind, I guarantee. I died 4 times to blind.
Yeah, bigdunka. I mean, bigdunka, you were ahead until your death at blind. That first race, and then 4 deaths to blind really did push you behind.
Yeah, and then I dropped my controller because I was so furious, and when I picked it back up, I accidentally save quit.
So, like, overall, like I said, hycutype, you were ahead most of this race, but honestly, that trolley hookshot and Ice Rod location, unfortunately, just completely changed the race.
Yeah. If basically when you chose to do Mire for the green pendant, if immediately after that you had gone to Thieves Town and grabbed the hookshot, this probably would have been more or less a dead even race, because bigdunka was already on Death Mountain at that point, but you had Desert and Eastern crystals done already, and he didn't. So that would have been insanely close.
Yeah, if I had remembered, I would have not done. I would have gone back to Thieves Town much earlier. I would not have killed Vitreous, certainly.
Okay, so you would have made the Thieves Town call first. I guess it is faster than killing a boss. And
I would have done it as part of the Smiths.
Right.
The Hammer Pegs.
I mean, good race for both of you still. So bigdunka, you're definitely into the group stage with your 4-2 record. hycutype, we're gonna see you at the tiebreaker. Hopefully, that will go really well for you.
I should be able to make that.
Yeah, good luck to you, dude.
Yeah, good luck. Good luck to both you. I do want to say, chat, make sure you give our runners a follow. They work hard to get here. Lots of practice. Make sure if you want to see more, you go on over their channel and give them a follow.
Yep. Jed and I race against both these gentlemen on a fairly regular basis in SRL. They're both excellent racers. You will not be disappointed with their link to the past content should you decide to give them a follow. So I would encourage you to do it for sure.
Yeah, the tiebreaker, just in case you're just joining us now, the tiebreaker is on Saturday at 3 p.m. Eastern, which is our normal standard weekly time. So if you're just getting interested in Rando and you just want to start joining us for races, doing the weeklies is a great time to do it. We have like almost 100 people, maybe more, joining during the weeklies.
Alrighty, so I think we can wrap it up here and get on with the next content coming up here on Speed Gaming. GG's once again to both of you guys, hycutype and bigdunka. That was a really entertaining race. Lots of swings back and forth. You guys both put on a good show. Congratulations to both of you.
Yeah, thank you very much, and as always, thanks to you guys and the restreamers and the trackers. It's a thankless job.
Yeah, thanks especially to Feasel, who works very hard on all this.
Absolutely.
Huge shout outs to Feasel and to our tracker Blasty G. Thank you.
And thank you all for watching.
Yeah, absolutely. Couldn't do it without the community, which the randomizer, ALTTP Randomizer, is fantastic. Extremely welcoming. You won't find a better community in racing out there, I don't think.
All right, well, stick around. We have a ton of races tomorrow. If you haven't, give this channel a follow, and yeah, thanks for joining us. I'm Jet02.
All right, and I'm Zyrak, and we'll see all of you guys at the next race.
Good night.